What's happening, beautiful people, and welcome back to another live stream right here on Cassius Morris Official. You know, this is kind of crazy to start off the stream because I'm going over my list of stories and just reading how crazy the world is really going. And this makes sense why nobody really was posting leading into 2026. This is my year, or like 2026 is going to be my year. Maybe a little bit of new year, new me. But the optimism for this year was not at an all-time high, and I think this may be for a reason, as just 4 days in, all hell is completely breaking loose. So the news story is, as you can tell from the title, that the USA has completely invaded Venezuela and has captured their president and extradited him back to the United States. So for anybody who's just joining and is not familiar with this story and what the actual circumstances are, let me just read a couple of quick little bullet points to get you up to speed before we start playing clips. So Trump has announced that the U.S. forces have captured Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro and his wife, and he claims that the U.S. will, quote, run Venezuela temporarily until a safe political transition occurs. Now, the reason that Trump is citing for actually going and taking over Venezuela and also taking custody of their president, he frames it as restoring law and order in Venezuela. Now, we're going to cover a lot of what's been happening in the region today in this stream, but obviously lots of tension and lots of issues going on, and also incredible movement in the drug trade. So Trump says the U.S. will temporarily run the country and claims Maduro's government is corrupt and dangerous, positioning this as a pro-freedom intervention. Now, the only problem with Trump's positioning is that a lot of his critics are citing it as disingenuous, given the fact that Trump has expressed lots of interest in the oil in Venezuela. Now, Venezuela, which is something a lot of people might not realize, by the way, has one of the most massive oil reserves on the planet, housing almost $17.3 billion in oil. And a lot of people are saying, Trump, you're full of it. You just want to get this oil. You don't give a rat's ass about Venezuela. That's the only reason you want to be in the region. So much to unpack here in this story. We're going to take a look at, of course, Trump's statements, his reasoning, the reaction from world leaders all around the world, the reaction from Venezuelans in the region and also outside of it, and, of course, all the other stories that we have for tonight's stream. So, guys, let's get this locked and loaded. Hit that like, hit that sub. Let's get this running right now. So we're going to start off playing just the beginning of Trump's speech, where he explains in his own words what the military operation was. And after that, we're going to look at some of the questions from reporters and other clips. Let's go.
Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas, to bring outlaw dictator Nicolás Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some other good ones, like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as Midnight Hammer, all perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off. due to a certain expertise that we have. It was dark and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York. It's Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence.
President Trump with some opening remarks to the public about the military operation which occurred in Venezuela, actually taking custody of their president and the first lady, I guess. Do they have a first lady in other countries? I don't know if that's an American thing or, part of my ignorance. But the president's wife as well being taken in to custody in the USA. Now, we're going to play just a couple more clips.
So now let's go to
this one here is Trump responding to some of the questions from reporters about this. And this may clear up some of the points that I actually want to cover in this video as well. Let's take a quick listen to this. Oops, that's a clip of me. We're not going to watch that right now.
If you can't pull women in your home country, you have zero shot at pulling.
That's me teaching you how to pull women in Thailand. So if you want to figure that out, go watch my channel.
Build the oil infrastructure, which will...
You said that the U.S. is going to run Venezuela. So who's in power right now?
Well, we're going to be running it with a group, and we're going to make sure it's run properly. We're going to rebuild the oil infrastructure, which will cost billions of dollars. It'll be paid for by the oil companies directly. They will be reimbursed for what they're doing, but that's going to be paid. And we're going to get the oil flowing the way it should be. As you know, it was just a minor flow. It was actually a minor flow for what they have.
So this is all about oil, man. Let's just be completely honest. Guys, can we just be honest and cut the bullshit for 2 seconds? Yes, we have to report fair and balanced news, and we have to, give people the benefit of the doubt, and we have to report the facts as they come in. I know all this. I've been doing reporting for quite some time. But when I see a story like this, and it's just so blatantly obvious, it's so blatantly see-through as to what's actually happening, to me it turns me off, and I don't even want to play the fair and balanced game. Because there's a 0% chance that this has nothing to do with oil. Actually, I'll go even further. There's a 0% chance that this invasion of Venezuela is not completely motivated by billions, if not trillions of dollars in oil. Yes, I believe that Trump cares about drugs coming into the United States. Do I believe that he wants to mitigate this and stop this and save more Americans? Actually, yes, I do believe that. The only concern is that Venezuela is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to drugs coming in. There's many different countries, there's many different regions, even bringing in more drugs in Venezuela into the United States, which he is not deciding to deal with right now. And it's awfully convenient that after everything that's happened with the oil, now Trump decides to shift his focus over to Venezuela. That's just where I'm standing right now. Like, we're going to listen to some more clips. We're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But we're not going to play this game where we act like it's not about the oil. When it comes to the United States invading countries, you're not going to sit here and tell me, and dude, a person with zero knowledge, by the way, of politics could tell you this. You're not going to tell me that all these countries invaded by the U.S. that have oil is just a coincidence. How am I supposed to believe this? And I'm seeing in the chat that he doesn't give a damn about drugs. He pardons drug dealers. We're going to look at some other stuff. We're going to look at some stuff about drugs because apparently drug overdoses and stuff are going down in the United States, and it has to do with some of Trump's work. So look, here's my thing with I'm not a pro-Trumper. I'm not an anti-Trumper. If he does good, I say it's good. If he does bad, I say it's bad. So we'll give him that. Like, we're going to go look at all this evidence, but let's keep listening here to what he has to say.
But we're going to run it properly, and we're going to make sure the people of Venezuela are taken care of. We're going to make sure the people that were forced out of Venezuela by this thug.
And shout out to the chat, man. Everybody in the chat's like, oh, we know it's all about oil. This is why I love my viewers, dude. Because this is the corner of the internet I can come to meet and talk with sane people. Shout out to every single... If you've ever even watched one of my streams, huge shout out to you. Because the people who know what's up are in this chat.
Venezuela by this thug are also taken care of.
Mr. President, does the U.S. running the country mean that U.S. troops will be on the ground? How will that work?
Well, you know, they always say boots on the ground. Oh, so we're not afraid of boots on the ground if we have to have. We had boots on the ground last night at a very high level, actually. We're not afraid of it. We don't mind saying it. But we're going to make sure that that country is run properly. We're not doing this in vain. This is a very dangerous attack. This is an attack that could have gone very, very badly. Could have gone very badly. We could have lost a lot of people last night. We could have lost a lot of dignity. We could have lost a lot of equipment. The equipment is less important, but we could have lost a lot. And we're going to make sure that this is proper. We're there now. We're ready to go again if we have to. We're going to run the country right. It's going to be run very judiciously.
Bro, Trump wants all the smoke right now. He's like, look, we came and invaded you, and we will invade you again. Trump's saying he's not afraid of having boots on the ground. So, guys, let me ask the chat. Do you think that there's going to be more boots on the ground in Venezuela? Can you guys see troops actually invading the region and it becoming a militarized area of the United States military? Or do you think that's going too far? What do you guys think?
Very fairly. It's going to make a lot of money. We're going to give money to the people. We're going to reimburse people that were taken advantage of. We're going to take care of everybody. It's very important. We couldn't let them get away with it. You know, they stole our oil. We built that whole industry there, and they just took it over like we were nothing. And we had a president that decided not to do anything about it. So we did something about it. We're late, but we did something about it. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I agree with the people saying yes in the chat, because I think, and this is just my hypothesis, I'm no military expert, but if they went to the point where they've actually gotten custody of their president and they have troops already there, I think this is easily going to escalate unless Venezuela just completely gives in to all of their demands. Now, guys, I understand that they're already there, but they don't have boots on the ground right now in the traditional sense. They just went and conducted the operation. I'm talking about actually having like U.S. military like they did in Afghanistan or Iraq, other countries. I'm seeing a lot of people saying yes right now, and I tend to agree. Especially if there's oil there, because remember, the U.S. is not going to get the oil in 5 minutes here. It's not going to take 5 minutes. It's not going to take 5 days. It probably won't even take 5 weeks. If they really have their eye on that oil, this is going to be a long fight.
Mechanism by which you're going to run the country? Are you going to designate a U.S. official to coordinate?
It's all being done right now. We're designating people. We're talking to people. We're designating various people, and we're going to let you know who those people are.
What's the group you mentioned that would run Venezuela?
Well, it's largely going to be, for a period of time, the people that are standing right behind me. We're going to be running it. We're going to be bringing it back. It's a dead, I talk about a dead country. A year and a half ago, we were a dead country. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're a country doing better than
I don't know if that's true, though, guys. Is the U.S. the hottest country in the world? I hear Trump say that a lot. Do you guys think that's true?
Anywhere in the world. And it required leadership. Venezuela has a lot of bad people in there, a lot of bad people that shouldn't be leading. We're not going to take a chance that one of those people take over for Maduro. So you can look at, and others, we have fantastic people, including people in the military. So we're going to have a group of people running it until such time as it can be put back on track, make a lot of money for the people, and give people a great way of life, and also reimbursement for people in our country that were forced out of Venezuela.
Rubio would be...
You said earlier today that you weren't going to back Machado to come back and be the opposition leader in your Fox and Friends interview. And then you also mentioned the vice president of Venezuela. Are you going to work with the vice president of Venezuela, or how do you foresee the relationship going?
I understand she was just sworn in, but she was, as you know, picked by Maduro. So Marco's working on that directly. He's just had a conversation with her, and she's essentially willing to do what we think is necessary to make Venezuela great again. Very simple.
Make Venezuela great again. Bro, what happened to America first? What is this right now? Dude, I love how America, this is my favorite thing about America. They're always focused on America itself and the issues at home until another country has more money than them or more oil. And then next thing you know, well, we have to go make that country great. Bro, you just started in America a few months ago. You haven't even made America great yet. And now you want to make Venezuela great. Why, dude, why is it that every time there's oil in a foreign country, America needs to be their savior? But all the other countries, by the way, that are rotting, all the other countries with bad things happening, you hear Trump talk about Sudan, the way he shits on Sudan as a country, talks about it being war-torn, talks about it not even functioning as a proper society. He has no interest in helping them. He has no interest in helping Somalia. He has no interest in helping Yemen. He has no interest in helping any of these countries. And I did confuse Sudan with Somalia because he's talked shit about both. But he has no interest in helping any of these countries. The only countries he wants to make great are the countries that can put money in his pocket. Even a Trump supporter, a Trump hater, like you can just admit that across the board. It's just facts.
Mr. President, Colombian President Gustavo Petro, a couple weeks ago, you said he's got to watch his ass. And today he said he's not concerned about anything happening to him in the aftermath of this operation. So just what your message is about that.
Well, he has cocaine mills. He has factories where he makes cocaine. And yeah, I think I stick by my first statement. He's making cocaine. They're sending it into the United States. So he does have to watch his ass.
Said he has to watch his ass. Dude, I like this new gangster Trump, by the way. This it's like a New York mob boss. He's like, hey, they don't want to fuck around with America, okay? America's the hottest country in the world. And he better watch his ass. Dude, this new mobster Trump is crazy.
He's not concerned about anything happening to him in the aftermath of this operation. So just what your message is about that.
Well, he has cocaine mills. He has factories where he makes cocaine. And yeah, I think I stick by my first statement. He's making cocaine. They're sending it into the United States. So he does have to watch his ass.
You better watch it.
Did you notify any members of Congress in advance?
Marco, do you want to talk about that? Because you were involved in it.
Sure. We call members of Congress immediately after. This was not the kind of mission that you can do congressional notification on. It was a trigger-based mission in which conditions had to be met night after night. We watched and monitored that for a number of days. So it's just simply not the kind of mission you can call people and say, hey, we may do this at some point in the next 15 days. But it's largely a law enforcement function. Remember, at the end of the day, at its core, this was an arrest of 2 indicted fugitives of American justice, and the Department of War supported the Department of Justice in that job. Now, there are broader policy implications here, but it's just not the kind of mission that you can pre-notify because it endangers...
But we should have known some shit was coming when they changed the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War, by the way. We should have known some shit was coming, bro. I remember in the back of my mind when they changed that name, I'm like, they're not changing the name because they're not planning to get active in 2026. Like, dude, if you're changing the name to the Department of War, and I know that was the OG name, the real ones who know their history know that was the OG name back in the day. But still, if you're changing that name, you're ready to get active. There's no way that you're not.
It's a mission.
Plus, if I could add one thing to that, Congress has a tendency to leak. This would not be good. If they leaked, General, I think it would have been maybe a very different result. But I have to say, they knew we were coming at some point, We had a lot of ships out there. They
Release the Epstein files, chat. I'm with you guys.
Sort of knew we were coming.
Who here thinks this is a distraction from Epstein, by the way? I think it probably is.
But Congress will leak, and we don't want leakers.
Mr. President, you were one of the only people to watch this all play out live. What was Maduro doing when the U.S. forces entered what I assume would be his home? And also, was there any point where the U.S. was considering if Maduro pushed back or resisted killing Maduro?
It could have happened. It could have happened. He was trying to get into a safe place. The safe place is all steel. And he wasn't able to make it to the door because our guys were so fast. They went through the opposition so fast, and there was a lot of opposition. People were wondering, do we get them by surprise? Sort of surprised, but they were waiting for something. It was a lot of opposition. There was a lot of gunfire. You saw some of it today. But he was trying to get to a safe place, which wasn't safe because we would have had the door blown up in about 47 seconds, they say.
Dude, they gotta leak the video of this, by the way, because Trump said he watched the whole thing on HD video. Guys, 4chan, the leakers, whoever has the access, like all you dark web people, the hackers, the Julian Assanges of the world, get that video, dude. Because the way Trump is describing this is like a Scarface scene. He's trying to get to the safe house. We're going to blow the fucking doors off the safe house. You can run, but you can't hide. This shit, bro, Netflix right now, I know Netflix is in the writer's room, bro. Netflix is in the writer's room sweating and panting. They probably got a typewriter out just for effect. Just feverishly writing with a fucking typewriter, sweating into the keys and shit. This is going to be the dopest movie, dude. 2028, the Maduro-Trump movie is going to go stupid. This shit's going to be a box office top seller.
On average, regardless of how thick the steel was. It was a very thick door. It was a very heavy door, but he was unable to get to that door. He made it to the door. He was unable to close it.
He made it so they chased him to his safe house and he couldn't close the door? Dude, I'm picturing like what you guys know those doors like in the Dark Knight when they're breaking into the bank vault? Like one of those bank vault doors with 19 locks. You got to lock it from up here and you got to go all the way down to your toes. That's how I picture the safe house door. Trump has a way with a story because I'm picturing it, man.
Go ahead, finish.
Where is Maduro going to be in the time being right now? Do you know his exact
Well,
whereabouts?
eventually, ultimately, in the near future, he's going to be brought to New York.
And where is he going to be held? Where is he going to be held in New York? Do you know?
That's going to be up to the officials that do these things.
Mr. President, the U.S. has something of a mixed track record of ousting dictators without necessarily a plan for what comes afterwards.
Not with
Did
me,
that weigh on your decision?
Well, that's when we had different presidents, but with me, that's not true. With me, we've had a perfect track record of winning. We win a lot, and we win. If you look at Soleimani, you look at al-Baghdadi, you look at the Midnight Hammer. Midnight Hammer was incredible. Right now, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. We have essentially peace in the Middle East because of that. If we weren't successful with Midnight Hammer, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. So, with me, you've had a lot of victory. You've had only victories. You've had no losses.
There's a lot of military operations for the peace president, by the way. Just throwing it out there, bro. The anti-war president is doing a lot of bragging about his military record. Do you guys really think Trump is a peace president or not? I mean, I feel like that was just bullshit for the campaign to win. No new wars, everybody. We have no new wars. Only a couple. Bro, like, what happened to that?
How long do you expect the U.S. to run Venezuela, and how soon do you want Venezuelan people to hold elections?
So I'd like to do it quickly, but it takes a period of time. You know, we're rebuilding. We have to rebuild their whole infrastructure. The infrastructure is rotted. It's actually very dangerous. It's blow-up territory. Oil is very dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing to take out of the ground. It can kill a lot of people. It has killed a lot of people doing just that. The infrastructure is old. It's rotted. Much of it is stuff that we put there 25 years ago, and we're going to be replacing it. And we're going to take a lot of money out so that we can take care of the country. Yeah.
Are you saying that Secretary Rubio and
Mr. President, China, Russia, and Iran have interests in Venezuela. How does this operation affect your relationships with them when it comes to the oil and the drugs?
And Russia, Russia, when we get things straightened out. But in terms
By the way, guys, we're going to play the reaction from President Putin of Russia coming up soon, so don't tune out. The reaction from world leaders is coming up next. I'll give some commentary as well.
When we get things straightened out. But in terms of other countries that want oil, we're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to give it to them. In other words, we'll be selling oil probably in much larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure was so bad.
Wait, so they're going to steal the oil? Is that what they're going to do and sell the oil?
We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to.
Operation affect your relationships?
Bro, this is like an international heist. This is so crazy. Dude is stealing billions of dollars of oil and just like, this is my country now. Bro rolls up into a country. This is why America's crazy. They roll into a country and they're like, yeah, all this shit, this is our shit. So just go ahead, pack it up. You can leave some of it over there, put a bundle over there. This is our shit now. That ship over there, that's our military ship now. This oil's ours. Put that shit in a neat little package. I'm the captain now. Bro, Trump talks like Somalians are evil and shit. Dude sounds like a Somalian. He's telling Venezuelans he's the captain now.
With them when it comes to the oil and drugs.
I'm the captain.
Russia, when we get things straightened out. But in terms of other countries that want oil, we're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to give it to them. In other words, we'll be selling oil probably in much larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure was so bad. So we'll be selling large amounts of oil to other countries, many of whom are using it now, but I would say many more will come.
Are you saying that, Mr. President, are you saying that? Oh,
Mr. President, thank you. What is your message to the people of Venezuela today? Of course, the civilian population specifically, they have a lot of questions. What is your message to the people of Venezuela?
That you're going to have peace, justice. You're going to have some of the riches that you should have had for a long period of time. It was stolen from you. But you're going to have peace and you're going to have safety. You're going to have justice. You're going to have a country. You're going to have a real country. You're going to have potentially a great country. You know, if you go back 20 years, maybe even a little longer ago, that was a great country, and they destroyed it. Remember I said that if we lose this election, the United States will be Venezuela on steroids. That's what would have happened. Had we lost
That's a big claim. For anybody who knows about the state of Venezuela for the last couple of years, that's a big claim.
Election, the 2024 election, we suffered so badly when you look at the border from 2020, what they did, what Joe Biden administration did to our country should never be forgotten. But if we had to go through another year of that, we would be exactly where Venezuela was in terms. I used to say, if they win, we're going to be Venezuela on steroids, and that's what would have happened.
President, thank you. Are you saying that Secretary Hegg
I don't even think that's possible for the U.S. to end up where Venezuela is now. Like, if you guys take a look at Venezuela, just to give you context, if you look up Venezuela money, what is it? Money sculptures, I'm pretty sure it is. So look at this. So in Venezuela, people had started, for anybody in the chat who thinks I'm saying it's good there, that's definitely not what I'm saying. Things got so bad that they actually started making like paper mache art out of the currency because the currency is so worthless. So this is Venezuela, guys. This is what they do with the money. It's literally worth fuck all. So they figured they could at least try to make a sculpture and sell it. So, yeah, I mean, for Trump to say the U.S. is going to get that bad, what do you guys think? Is that even possible? I don't think that's possible.
I used to say, if they win, we're going to be Venezuela on steroids, and that's what would have happened.
President, thank you. Are you saying that Secretary Hegseth and Rubio are going to be running Venezuela, and will you be sending in U.S. military troops to provide? They're going to be a team
that's working with the people of Venezuela to make sure that we have Venezuela right. Because for us to just leave, who's going to take over? I mean, there is nobody to take over. You have a vice president who's been appointed by Maduro, and right now she's the vice president, and she's, I guess, the president. She was sworn in as president just a little while ago. She had a long conversation with Marco, and she said, we'll do whatever you need. I think she was quite gracious, but she really doesn't have a choice. We're going to have this done right. We're not going to just do this with Maduro, then leave like everybody else, leave and say, you know, let it go to hell. If we just left, it has zero chance of ever coming back. We'll run it properly. We'll run it professionally. We'll have the greatest oil companies in the world go in and invest billions and billions of dollars and take out money, use that money in Venezuela. And the biggest beneficiary are going to be the people of Venezuela. And also, I can't stress this strongly enough, the people that got thrown out of Venezuela that are now in the United States, and frankly, some want to stay and some probably want to go back, yeah.
Done to protect Americans in the country, and were any of the detained Americans?
Well, right now they're very protected because.
So what do you guys think? Real quick, chat. Do you guys think Trump is in the right or in the wrong? Just put right or wrong in the chat about this. I'm going to drop my thoughts in just 2 seconds. We want to let the president speak and answer the questions that you guys might be wondering, that I might be wondering. I want to get all the information before I drop my take. But what do you guys think? Is this the right move to actually make the world a more peaceful place? Is this going to help South America? Is this going to help the region? Or is this a complete bullshit play for oil and money? Let me know what you guys think. I'm seeing a lot of wrong, a lot of right. There's so much reaction in the chat right now, it's hard to keep up.
Nobody's going to mess with us. They're very protected. The people of, and we let them know that you better not touch one of them.
Are you concerned that bad elements of the Maduro regime will remain in place?
Well, we know who they are. We're on them. And they're acting much differently now than they would have acted 2 days ago. Okay, wait. Behind you, please.
Mr. President, why is running a country in South America America first?
Well, I think it is because we want to surround ourselves with good neighbors.
Shout out to the reporter who asked that, by the way. That's a good question. How is this America first? And again, doesn't mean it's wrong, but I'm curious to hear his response here because the longer we go into the Trump presidency of this term, the further away we get from America first. I'm hearing a lot about Venezuela. I'm hearing a lot about Ukraine. I'm hearing about Israel. I'm hearing about Russia. The country I'm hearing the least about from the American administration is America. So let's hear the answer to this question. How is invading Venezuela America first?
Differently now than they would have acted 2 days ago. Okay, wait, behind you, please.
Mr. President, why is running a country in South America America first?
Well, I think it is because we want to surround ourselves with good neighbors. We want to surround ourselves with stability. We want to surround ourselves with energy. We have tremendous energy in that country. It's very important that we protect it. We need that for ourselves. We need that for the world. And we want to make sure we can protect it. Yes, sir. Please, go ahead.
Yeah, is there a message here for Cuba and Diaz-Canel?
Well, Cuba is an interesting case. Cuba is, not doing very well right now. That system has not been a very good one for Cuba. The people there have suffered for many, many years. And I think Cuba is going to be something we'll end up talking about because Cuba is a failing nation right now, very badly failing nation. And we want to help the people. It's very similar in the sense that we want to help the people in Cuba, but we want to also help the people that were forced out of Cuba and living in this country. Do you want to say something about that, Marco, please?
Well, I mean, I just gave you a statement a few minutes ago about, when the president speaks, you should take him seriously.
By the way, what happened with Marco Rubio that he likes Trump now? This is a genuine question, guys. I'm not trying to be like fresh or smart. Literally, I remember Marco Rubio hating Trump, vocally opposing Trump for so long, calling him a gangster and all this shit, and now he's working for him. What happened with that?
Please suffice it to say, Cuba is a disaster. It's run by incompetent, senile men, and in some cases, not senile but incompetent nonetheless. It has no economy. It's in total collapse. And by the way, they were, all of the guards that helped protect Maduro. This is well known. Their whole spy agency, all that were full of Cubans. I mean, it's amazing. This poor island took over Venezuela in some cases. One of the biggest problems the Venezuelans have is they have to declare independence from Cuba. They tried to basically colonize it from a security standpoint. So, yeah, look, if I lived in Havana and I was in the government, I'd be concerned, at least a little bit.
Cutting off the oil flow to Cuba from Venezuela?
Well, the president already announced a week ago that anything that's sanctioned, oil, it's not going to be allowed to get there. So that's a pre-existing.
Mr. President?
The answer is yes. Yes.
Aware of the location of opposition leader Machado, and have you been in contact with her?
No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Mr. President,
do you have any hesitations about Machado?
Mr. President, on Monday.
I think it would be very tough for her to be the leader. She doesn't have the support within or the respect within the country. She's a very nice woman, but she doesn't have the respect to be the leader.
Mr. President, is it possible that the U.S. ends up administrating Venezuela for years?
Well, it won't cost us anything because the money coming out of the ground is very substantial. So it's not.
Oh my God, bro! He literally just spelled out the whole plan. They're gonna be there for years, dude. That response from Trump to me steals everything. If it was a no of them being there for years, I think he would have just said no. But listen again to his response. The money coming out of the ground is gonna make it so it doesn't cost them anything.
Within the country. She's a very nice woman, but she doesn't have the respect to be the leader.
Right here.
Is it possible that the U.S. ends up administrating Venezuela for years?
Well, it won't cost us anything because the money coming out of the ground is very substantial. So it's not going to cost us anything.
This is so insane, dude. I cannot believe what I'm hearing right now. He's like, yeah, well, we can invade them because we're going to steal so much shit from them that the invasion's actually going to pay for itself. So he's not concerned about invading. He's not concerned about boots on the ground. He's definitely not concerned about violating international law. All he's caring about is how much money it's going to cost him to carry out these actions. And he's cool because the money that it's going to cost them to do all this illegal shit is going to be covered by all the shit they're going to steal from said country. I mean, you cannot write this stuff.
We will.
You can't make this shit up.
Well, we want safety there. We want to be surrounded by countries that aren't housing all of our enemies all over the world. That's what was happening, and you don't want to have that. But we're going to be rebuilding, and we're not spending money. The oil companies are going to go in. They're going to spend money. We're going to take back the oil that, frankly, we should have taken back a long time ago. A lot of money is coming out of the ground. We're going to get reimbursed for all of that. We're going to get reimbursed for everything that we spend. So it's going to be a very important. This is a very big evening that took place last night. We have to be surrounded by safe, secure countries, and we also have to have energy. Very important. We have to have energy that's real energy, not where they're getting 4% and 5% of the energy out of the ground. You take a look. It was such a disaster. So what's going to happen with Venezuela, I think, over the next period of a year is going to be a great thing. And the people of Venezuela will be the biggest beneficiaries.
Donald Trump saying in his latest press conference that the United States would have no issue taking control of Venezuela for years to come. He admits that they will be moving in on the $17.3 billion of oil reserves, which are in the region. And it looks like Venezuela has no end in sight for this U.S. occupation, which has just occurred, leading to their president being put into custody, now extradited to the United States. Now, we're going to take a look at some different reactions, guys. We're going to listen to some more from President Trump. We're also going to look at the reaction from actual Venezuelan people, because as many people are saying in the chat, and guys, I am reading your chats, a lot of Venezuelans are happy about this. And I want to be perfectly clear. I think there's a lot of positives to Maduro being taken out of office. I think there's a lot of good things here. I think he was very corrupt. So I'm not framing this live stream like this is a bad thing. I'm simply reporting on what's happening. The thing I do think is bad, though, and the thing that I think is quite a shocking coincidence through this whole story, and why it actually is also a brilliant political play, is the factor of the oil. Like, look, if the oil was not involved in this, and the U.S. simply wanted to take control simply for the greater good of the people with no other motivation, that might strike me as a little bit more genuine and sincere. But this just seems to me, and I got to hand it to him because it's a good chess move, this seems to me like a very convenient political play, saying, look, yeah, we can help some people. Yeah, we can overthrow a corrupt regime. But ultimately, we're getting billions, okay? And we're getting billions from this oil. So, look, you can look at it one of two ways. You can look at it in the sense that maybe it's disingenuous and they're making a play for the oil, so it's not good on Trump's part. Or you can look at it from the other perspective, that maybe the oil is going to get taken, maybe some negative things are going to happen, but the greater good is actually going to benefit people from Venezuela. The greater good is actually going to help people get out of a corrupt system. What do you guys think in the chat? I feel like I can see it both ways. It's like I don't really care how things get good for people. I just want them to get good. So if this is going to help Venezuelans, I'm all for it. It's the aspect of the oil, though, which muddies this up.
U.S. military.
Mr. President, thank you. What did you last speak to Maduro about when you spoke? And is the
Well,
US
I don't want to get into the
Venezuela?
conversations, but I did have conversations with him, and I said, you got to surrender. And I actually thought he was pretty close to doing so, but now he wished he did, yeah.
Mr. President, can you explain, you said that Maduro is responsible for drug trafficking. You recently pardoned the former president of Honduras who was convicted on many drug trafficking.
So somebody in the chat earlier was saying that Trump doesn't care about drugs because he's pardoning drug lords. Now he's getting questioned about that. By the way, shout out to the reporters in this press junket, bro. They're asking really, really good questions. I feel like reporters so often when they get to the president ask some stupid questions or they're nervous or scared. These guys ask good questions.
You said that Maduro is responsible for drug trafficking. You recently pardoned the former president of Honduras who was convicted on many drug trafficking. Can you explain how these two situations are different? And would you ever pardon Maduro?
I endorsed, as you know, the winning president, the man who won in Honduras. I endorsed the man who won in Chile. I endorsed the man who won in Argentina. And we are doing very well with that whole group. What the man that I pardoned was, if you could equate it to us, he was treated...
Thank you, Michael.
Like the Biden administration treated a man named Trump. That didn't work out too well for them. This was a man who was persecuted very unfairly. He was the head of the country. He was persecuted very unfairly. And there are a number of them. and we felt that it was a very unfair situation that happened to him. He's also a party member of the man who won, so obviously the people liked what I did. And one of the reasons that was done is because of the fact that the party in power felt very strongly that that man was treated very badly. I studied it very quickly, and then I studied it in great detail. I went to a lot of the people standing behind me, and they felt that that man was persecuted and treated very badly. That's why I gave him a pardon.
You referenced boots on the ground earlier. Can you just sort of button this up? Do you envision the U.S. military having a presence in Venezuela as the U.S. runs that country?
No, we're going to have a presence in Venezuela as it pertains to oil, because we have to have, we're sending our expertise in.
Bro, when did Trump become the next George Bush Jr., though? Like, I thought this was literally what Trump was criticizing Bush Jr. for starting some sort of conflict with the military over oil. When did this become Trump's play? You know, part of me is actually kind of surprised, because maybe I bought in just to a degree to the Trump promise, especially for this last election cycle. Now, hear me out for a second. When he was saying all of his election promises, some of them sounded true, some of them sounded like they were bullshit. But the one thing about Trump's last campaign, which really rung true to me, was the fact that he was going to be America first. And even at my own expense, as somebody from another country, I'm not an American, even when it hit my country hard in form of tariffs or whatever, I still sort of respected the America first mindset, because that is where America has been lacking for so long. And it's glaringly obvious. Every time America tries to interfere with foreign affairs, it usually doesn't go that well. Yes, they've gained some assets from it, financial assets and different assets of that nature. But it typically muddies things up and makes things worse for that country instead of making them better. And I really thought this was something that we wouldn't have to worry about with Donald Trump. And maybe I bought into it. Look, maybe I was drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit in the 2024 election. Like, I pretty much believed that he wasn't going to come in and do shit like this. So it's kind of surprising. It's completely contradictory to what he was saying. This and the stuff with Israel, to me, is a huge letdown for Trump, because he's obviously a shill for Israel. He just got an award for being Netanyahu's best boy, which I don't know what the fuck that was about, dude. When you are such a shill for Israel that you actually get given an award by Israel, that is the opposite of America first. That is the exact contradiction of America first. And let me even take it a step further for President Trump, and let me ask a genuine question. This is a genuine question for President Trump. If you're so concerned about corruption and you're concerned about actually putting people in custody who lead other countries, who violate international law, where is that energy for Benjamin Netanyahu? If you really want to protect people and bring down international criminals and hold up the international standard of justice as America being the sort of light of the world and the cop of the world and the supervisor of the world, why do you not have this same energy for a war criminal committing crimes against humanity, letting him come to the White House, letting him come to all different American cities, letting him take different flight paths in and out of the country so he doesn't get taken by other countries being in their airspace? This is a dude who's wanted internationally for crimes against humanity. Whether you want to admit it or not, Benjamin Netanyahu is the war criminal. Netanyahu is the one. I should call him a fucking Yahoo. Benjamin Netanyahu is the one who should be getting this same treatment. So that's my question for Trump. Trump, if you're concerned about being the cop of the world and the overseer of justice for the planet as the United States, why are you so invested in doing business with the biggest war criminal in modern day history, and you kiss his ass? You sit there and kiss his ass like a little lapdog. Never in my life have I seen Donald Trump look like so much of a bitch than he looks like in front of Benjamin Netanyahu, because he sits there in front of Netanyahu and they have these twisted smiles they give each other like they're two lovers who just finished a session in the back room, making out under the bleachers or some stupid shit. They look at each other like they know something. It's the fucking most disgusting bromance of the century. But these dudes are in love with each other. Zero of the same energy for Netanyahu when that piece of shit is in and out of the White House. So that's why this is all about oil. And I don't care what the chat says. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. I know what I know. This is all about oil. And if this shit was genuine, Netanyahu would be in jail right now. Change my mind.
They need something, not very much. But no, we're going to be taking out a tremendous amount of wealth out of the ground. And that wealth is going to the people of Venezuela and people from outside of Venezuela that used to be in Venezuela. And it goes also to the United States of America in the form of reimbursement for the damages caused us by that country. So I want to thank you all very much. Thank you. Do you have one? Yes, please. You were so nice before. I'm going to give you the final question. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr.
Unless
President.
it's a bad question, in
It's
which
about
case
Putin.
I'll go one word. It's about who?
It's about Putin, if you want.
About Putin. Well, that's always nice.
So next after this question, we're going to look at Putin's response to see what he actually said, guys. If you're liking this stream and you want a fresh, unfiltered take on all the biggest news in the world, make sure to hit that subscribe and like. We're on the road to 100,000 subs, everybody. Thank you for showing love. All fresh shit every day.
You had a phone call with him on Monday. Did he talk at all about Maduro? Did y'all talk about this?
No, we didn't.
And
We
then,
never spoke about Maduro.
Are you mad at him right now? I mean, there's this
I'm not
intelligence.
thrilled with Putin. I'm not thrilled with Putin. He's killing too many people. I thought that would be so.
But I thought Trump was going to end the Russia war on day one, remember? That war, I would have it ended on day one, folks. Day one, the war would be over. How long is day one? I thought he started last January. You're telling me now that day one hasn't ended? When does day one end? It's been a long fucking day.
8 1/4 war. You know what the 1/4 was? Thailand and Cambodia. I did it again. They broke out, and I did it in about 5 hours, and I settled it. I'm giving myself 1/4, so I'm up to now 8 1/4. In other words, I settled the war, but then they broke out. They had a pretty bad breakout over the last 4 days. I got them to go back to peace, so I only give 1/4. I thought the easiest one would be, one of the easier ones would be Russia, Ukraine. It's not, and they both have done some pretty bad things.
Bro, what would make Trump think it's easy to solve the Russia-Ukraine war? Like, what is... I'm not a Trump hater, by the way. I see people saying he has Trump derangement syndrome. Dude, when I was covering the election when it was happening, I was being called a fringe right-wing MAGA cultist. It doesn't matter what I say. I'm not a political person. What I'm trying to tell you is this. This shit is disingenuous.
And look, that's Biden's war. That's not my war. But I want to stop the lives.
But why would he think it would be easy to stop the war? That's the point I was going to make. This is a war that's been going on for a long time. So why would you sit there and say, I thought this would be the easiest war to stop? Like, this has been one of the biggest international issues that's been happening, Russia and Ukraine. That's where I get confused.
Did you see where last month, 30,000, it was 27,000 the month before. 30,000, mostly soldiers, were killed this last month. 30,000. I want to stop that. You know, I got NATO to pay 5% instead of the 2% that they weren't paying. They weren't paying 2, now they pay 5. And we send them a lot of munitions. We send them a lot of things, missiles and various other things, a lot. And they pay. The United States is not losing money. We're probably making money on that. It's the last thing I care about. I just want to stop all those people. We're losing 25, 30,000 human beings that come from 2 places that are very far away. But if I can stop, because it's something I've been pretty good at doing, deals, I guess. It's all a deal. Life is a big deal. But if I can stop that war and stop 30,000 young people, in addition to the fact that people are being killed in Kiev, people are being killed in other cities throughout, you know, a much smaller number, but they're being killed, viciously killed. So I'm not happy about it. I thought that would be something that would get solved. We have Mr. Witkoff here. I think that we're making progress, but that's a war that should have never happened. If I were president, it would have never happened.
It would have never happened, and he would have ended it on day one, right?
Never happened. Putin says it. Everybody says it.
If he was that's such a stupid thing to say. Because there's no way to prove it and there's no way to disprove it. You can say, if I was president, this would have never happened. Oh, that's not a tangible statement. What am I supposed to say to that? Can I disprove it? Can I prove it? It's just blowing hot air. But President Trump delivering remarks about taking over Venezuela and actually capturing the sitting president, Maduro, in Venezuela, along with his wife, guys. So this is a crazy story. We've been covering it for about the past hour. Next, we're going to hop into the reaction here from President Putin and other world leaders. So I'm going to go ahead and cue that up now. But ultimately, guys, this is really a crazy situation. Now, where I'm really sitting on this issue is that there's two sides of it, again. And I think these two issues are being conflated, and this is why it's a genius political play, but also a confusing one. The issue of Maduro actually being taken out of Venezuela and being overthrown, from where I'm sitting, is a very good thing. There is nothing good about this dude being the leader of Venezuela. Anybody who was informed even slightly about the state of Venezuela in the past number of years would know that the country has seriously gone downhill. Not only that, but surrounding countries, the bordering countries to Venezuela, have also been seeing massive increases in crime and different things happening, coming from the top down due to this leadership and corruption, which has been happening. So this is a very serious thing. It's not like anybody who's saying that Maduro was good is certainly not informed on what's happening. And just a couple of bullet points really quickly before we move on. Just to explain a little bit of his corruption. So the reason Maduro is seen as corrupt, the main reason is that Venezuela's economy completely collapsed under his rule. So we're talking hyperinflation, food shortages, and failing public services. That's what's happened under Maduro in Venezuela. And when you really look into it, guys, and I encourage you to go do some reading of your own and some research of your own, that's why I was skeptical when Trump was saying that the U.S. could get even worse than Venezuela, because for the U.S. to have a worse economy than Venezuela, things would have to fall to unprecedented levels. I don't even know if that's actually possible. The other reason that people consider Maduro to be completely corrupt is that him and his close allies are accused of embezzling billions of dollars from government funds, including oil revenue. So yes, the oil is actually tied in to Maduro, and that's why I say this is a genius political play. Because in the quest to get the oil, in the quest to conquer and basically be pirates to Venezuela and go steal all their shit, they can actually do it in the name of being Venezuela's savior. They can do it in the name of improving the region. And you know what the funniest part is about this political play and why it's a good one? Both of the things actually can be true at once. The U.S. can actually be doing very good things for Venezuela in this moment and making a huge difference, while also violating international law and committing massive theft, which I don't even think it's considered theft when it's on this level. It's at a bigger scale. So that's how it ties in. But UN and U.S. sanctions have targeted Maduro and his inner circle for his corruption. And of course, Maduro has used his position and power to be corrupt as well. He's cracked down on opposing leaders, manipulated elections in Venezuela, and even gone as far as to jail his critics. This is a dictator who is definitely authoritarian. So this is some context when it comes to Maduro and what he's been doing to Venezuela. So guys, I'm not a fucking idiot. I don't think this is a good dude. I think this is a very good person to crack down on and take out of the public sphere, take out of his country. But I'm going to reiterate my point. I said it once and I'll repeat it once more. I still don't buy that this is why they're doing this. So many other countries in the world have the same political situation, the same corruption in their government, the same issues with drugs coming in and out of their borders, and the same issues with hyperinflation. The only difference between those countries and Venezuela, however, is that those other countries don't have oil or other assets for the United States to take for themselves. So it's very, very simple. Maybe a good move sociopolitically. But I feel like this is sort of a mask for the real intention of the oil, because again, if you really want to help a country out with a corrupt leader, why don't you help Somalia? Why don't you help some of these other regions that you're talking about? Why don't you go to Haiti and try to put order in Haiti? Haiti doesn't even have anybody running it. Haiti's literally run by dudes with machine guns in the street. Like some countries have a president, Haiti has a 9-year-old with a shotgun. That's their president. It's like a bunch of 9-year-olds with guns. So you're not going to get me to really believe that this is about helping people when that's your move, to ignore all that stuff, and you're Netanyahu's bitch. And I'm not going to let that one go, dude. You cannot sit and be a shilling little cuck for Benjamin Netanyahu and then act like you give a fuck about the world. This is the same dude, Donald Trump, who does many good things, but is also full of shit on many others. I wish his supporters could just admit that. I wish people could, even his haters could just admit that, actually. If the people who hate Trump could just give him credit when he's good and the people who love him could admit it when he's bad, this world would make so much more sense. But to sit there and say that you're going to make everybody in Gaza leave and you're going to redevelop the land and own it and you're going to put a country club and a hotel and you're just going to, it's going to be a utopia. The Gaza resort, the Gaza Strip, the Trump Gaza resort. That's your idea of peace. And you're cool with sitting there with Benjamin Netanyahu and you're just cool with all this shit. The peace president is cool with all this shit. But he draws the line at Venezuela. That's where he draws the line. Had nothing to do with the oil. But, you know, they just happen to have $17 billion of oil. How stupid. I don't know who's more stupid, him or the people who believe this shit. I think it's got to be the people who believe it, dude. Actually, Trump isn't even stupid. I mean, because if people believe it, you can't even blame them.
So now let's go to reaction that's pouring in from world leaders this morning who are waking up to a new reality with what happened overnight. We have our CB Cotton, who has been following reaction from all over the world.
So we're going to look at Putin's reaction now and different world leaders as well.
CB, there's been plenty of reaction here in the United States. Democrats, Republicans split on whether or not this was an illegal or legal move. But around the world, there's also harsh reaction as well. What can you tell us, CB?
Hey, Brian, that's right. Well, this morning, the UN Secretary General released a statement saying he is deeply concerned that international law may not have been respected. As you mentioned, global leaders are watching as all of this unfolds to see what comes next for Venezuela and U.S. foreign policy. In Europe, the European Council president released a statement, Antonio Costa, and he said he was following the developments with, quote, great concern, urging de-escalation and respect of international law. Some Latin American countries are also making similar calls. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum reposted the official statement of her country's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which condemned the strikes as a violation of the United Nations and called for dialogue, not force. U.S. adversaries are also weighing in. Russia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs writing in part on X, quote, the pretext used to justify these actions are untenable. Russia reaffirms its solidarity with the Venezuelan people. Iran and its supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, which also has a long history of conflict with the U.S. Well, he has rattled off a series of posts this morning about the strike, including one which says in part, quote, what's important is when one realizes an enemy wants to force something on one's government or nation with false claims, they must stand firmly against the enemy. But there are also...
So I don't know if Putin has directly responded. They did a little bit of clickbait, actually. They did some clickbait there trying to tell us that Putin was going to respond. So let's see if Putin actually has responded, guys. And I'm just curious to see what he's going to have to say. But ultimately, I want to see you guys' statements again. What do you think about this whole situation? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? I see a lot of people talking about, it doesn't look like Putin responded. It looks like a lot of people are talking about the response of Venezuelans to this. So why don't we go ahead and pivot over to that? Look, there's a lot of things that I can say. There's a lot of things that we can talk about in the chat. But if we really want to get the real consensus, we got to look at the response from actual Venezuelans and what they have to say about this. So let's take a look at a couple of clips and hear the unfiltered reaction live and direct.
Let me go now to George Solis, who is live for us in South Florida. And George, I think we have you. I know it's a little bit loud where you are. We have spoken with Jesse Kirsch. We've spoken with you. I know that you're in the thick of it there as you have Venezuelans gathering now, many of them celebrating the removal of Nicolás Maduro.
Yeah, exactly right, Hallie. We're in Doral, Florida, affectionately known as Dorozuela. This right here, the gathering center outside Arepaso. Crowds.
Bro, the mainstream media has to do clickbait because nobody watches them anymore. Like, dude, I can guarantee you I'm pulling just as many numbers in my live streams as they are. I'm doing the same numbers as MSNBC. Like, dude, we did 50,000 people on the stream yesterday, bro. Like, mainstream media can't even touch us.
Coming and going. This party showing no signs of slowing down. Every so often, the music will pick up. You'll hear horns honking, people in support, the flags of Venezuela flying here across the crowd. Moments ago, the crowd chanting in Spanish, the government is over, the government has fallen. That's, again, just a number of chants that we have been hearing about freedom, liberty. I have been to this area numerous times while we've been covering the story of Venezuela, Hallie, and so many people in this community say we have not felt comfortable to step out to speak.
Man, these dudes need to shut the fuck up. I want to hear what people have to say, dude. I'm going to go to my Facebook. I got to go to Facebook as a last resort to get this real clip. Guys, I'm not going to sit here and play talking heads or be a talking head. If you guys are going to be in my stream, I want you guys to get legitimate information. I want you guys to literally... The only way I even want you to watch this is if you leave with knowledge you didn't have before. Fuck a talking head. Fuck a clickbait. That's why you got to subscribe. This is the real unfiltered take. So we went to X and we got it. So here's the real footage of Venezuelans reacting. I'm sick of these fucking mainstream media bullshit artists and their clickbait videos. So annoying.
I hope you have your coffee when I tell you this, but these are great news. All eyes on Venezuela. These are historical news. This is history in the making. I mean, my chest, it feels like it's gonna explode with joy because before I was even born, there have been struggles. My family has been fighting for so many years before I was even here. They have told me about it. They told me about a time where democracy existed. And now I can finally look forward to that, and that's just everything that I can ask for. And you know, I just want to tell you people, America, Venezuelans are good people, the greatest people that I know. I can vouch for them. We are good. We are working hard, and this is our President Donald Trump and Maria Corina Machado just created an opportunity for us to begin working harder than ever, because that's what we have always been doing, but now we will be working in our country. But you know, we also have worked so hard here in the United States to build so much things, and I just want to thank you, America. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to work.
See, I often wonder though how much of these reactions are legitimate and how many of these people that we see in these interviews are like paid protesters. And again, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist or I'm going down the rabbit hole, but bro, you would be surprised how many individuals you see doing interviews like this at protests are actually paid protesters. It's so many of them. And this isn't just Trump supporters, people against Trump. This is all sides of the political aisle. So I'm always skeptical when I see these like perfectly placed interviews at protests because you don't know who's funding it.
You know, there's a lot of pride that comes with Venezuelans.
This shit is lagging like crazy though. Let me reload this really quick. But yeah, you guys know what I mean, though? It's like, I know the Venezuelans are happy. I'm not trying to say the Venezuelans aren't happy. I'm just saying for the protest interviews, you can't believe everything you see.
Actually wore this flag just like this for his college graduation in the University of Florida.
I think it's the OG video that's lagging. It's not my connection. I think it's the actual video.
Love there is for this country that has gone through so much for so long. Being here has been incredible. People are dancing, people are cheering, and we've been here so many times, Christian, like you've said in the past, when there have been so many issues, and they would cheer, si se puede, si se puede. Now they're cheering, si se pudo. Yes, we did it. It happened. What do you think now this means for Venezuela?
Yeah, let's take a look at some other ones. So I know in Spain, they're having massive celebrations. See, a lot of the videos that they're posting, guys, people were saying they're in Venezuela, but they're actually not in Venezuela. They're in different places. I I just want to make sure to find one of those videos. So I think the first one that'll pop up is the one from Spain. Yeah, so look at this one. But again, the community posts are all saying that they're in the wrong locations. People are posting that they're in the wrong locations. This one is actually in Venezuela. Whoa. People just out in the streets. People just going crazy, celebrating. This is another one in Venezuela. Bro, some of you guys in the chat are so crazy. Guys, I see everything, by the way. Never think I don't see everything. Some of you guys are so funny, bro. Oh, this is in Peru. Okay, so look, this is all over South America. So look, they're happy, dude. South Americans are happy.
Venezuela.
Okay, see, this is cool. Now, my only question would be for the people who are happy about it, especially the Venezuelans. What is their opinion on the oil? Are they comfortable with the U.S. coming in and seizing ships? Are they comfortable with people coming in and seizing their assets, seizing their oil? And if it's not done with proper care so that Venezuela can actually reap some of the benefits, because hopefully what could happen in this scenario, see, this is what would be the win-win scenario, is that the U.S. comes in, takes control of the oil, and then actually helps rebuild Venezuela as a country from the ground up. If that was to happen, well, it would be obvious what their opinion is. They would be in support of it. But I'm curious, like, what is a Venezuelan's person's reaction to this oil actually going to the U.S. control? That's what I'm very curious about. Do they think that's good? Because right now, like I said, it's two issues being conflated. They're happy their corrupt dictator is out of office, which of course they're going to be happy about. What about the oil? So there you go, guys. That's most of the latest coverage. Oh, this is in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Wow. Wow. I wonder if there's anything happening in Thailand tonight. I could go cover it, actually. I'll take a look. But so look, guys, this is very, very interesting. I think that we're looking maybe at one of the most poignant political stories of modern times, because this is a story that's actually going to make real change. You know, so many political things, so many political headlines, they seem to be a big deal and they get people super charged up, but the reality is that they don't really mean anything and they don't actually cause change for the people. This is one of the rare cases in politics where a potential shift, a potential change is actually going to reflect and benefit the people, and maybe also have consequences to the people as well. This will have direct effect on the citizens, which is something, again, which especially in American politics is super, super rare. I see a lot of, money coming in and out of government. I see the government having wins and the government having losses. Meanwhile, the people are not feeling much difference. So it's going to be interesting to see something that can actually have a proper ripple effect to the public and not just the governments. So we're going to have to see what happens with this story. But like I say, I think this is a slippery slope. I think it's potentially disingenuous, the reasoning behind it. And until there's consistency behind the actions, until the U.S. gets off Israel's nuts, until they stop defending other terrorist countries and other terrorist organizations, I'm not really going to buy it that they have a problem with terrorism. I'm not really going to buy it that this is even an issue for them. That being said, and I've seen this in the chat, you got to start somewhere. It might be questionable the method in which it's been done. And look at these protests here in Venezuela. That's crazy. Or this is in Argentina, rather. The community notes keep getting me right. Now this is crazy. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think. And again, I love how everybody's an expert. Everybody in the chat's an expert. Everybody's an expert, so that's cool. But again, let me know your expert opinions. Let me know your expert opinions down below in the chat. Okay, we have a couple more clips, guys. We're going to play some more clips.
I wanted to...
that we saw on X. If you guys are liking this, if you're liking fresh takes on all of the newest, hottest stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button, man. We're on the road to 100,000 followers. We just hit 75,000 today, so thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for being there for me. I appreciate you guys. So this clip here, Kamala Harris says that she wanted to do the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, contrary to popular belief that she blew off the show. Now, I'm curious to hear this clip because we did cover this story when it first came out. And my opinion on this story, and this still stands, is that Kamala Harris may have lost the election due to her inability to appear on the Joe Rogan podcast. And the same way that Donald Trump may have won the election by going on, I think, in my opinion, that was the most pivotal point in the actual Trump election cycle in 2024. The fact that not only he went on Rogan, but also J.D. Vance and Elon went on Rogan to campaign for him. I think that's the reason he won, or one of the reasons he won. And by that same point, I think Kamala Harris lost the election because she didn't go on. If she would have gone on Joe Rogan, if she could have just pulled it together to go on Rogan and actually have a human conversation and make herself seem not like a script reading maniac, like just a person who just literally reads a script and has no personality, if she would have made herself seem accessible and actually maybe had a couple genuine laughs with Rogan, not just that fake forced laugh that she does, she probably could have won the election. She would have at least had a better shot. And trust me, I don't think she should have won it. But it's just a fact. Let's take a listen to Kamala Harris explaining what went wrong and why she didn't go on the Joe Rogan podcast.
I wanted to do Joe Rogan show. And there was a lot of games being played. I think podcasting is a very powerful medium for people to get information. A lot of people, that is a main source of information. And it's important for us to support that.
Joe says you wanted him to come to you, which is very un-Joe-like in terms of he doesn't really travel. Do you wish you'd gone and done the show for 3 hours at his studio?
A lot of people advised me not to do a show because they assumed, as it turned out to be correct, that he was supporting Trump. And
bro, how can you go to Joe Rogan? Sorry, how can you expect Joe Rogan to go to you when his studio is in Austin? You know, this is what people who are not included in the establishment, like this is what people who are considered not to be mainstream media have to go through every single time they try to do a press request. If the request was for Kamala Harris to go on Oprah, actually when it was requested for her to go on Oprah, Kamala Harris showed up to Oprah. She's not going to ask Oprah to go to her because Oprah's studio is in Los Angeles and they have the respect for that platform that this is where they do their show. If I go do the Dr. Phil show, I'm not going to ask Dr. Phil to come to me because Dr. Phil has a studio. That's where he does his show. His studio is in Los Angeles. Same thing applies to Joe Rogan. Why, just because Joe Rogan is a podcast, do you feel like he needs to bring his studio to you? He's not going to bring, he has a studio in Austin, just like any other popular television show, which, by the way, Joe Rogan is bigger than all the shows I just mentioned. He's bigger than Oprah. He's bigger than Dr. Phil. He's bigger than CNN. Why would you want to go to their studios and tell Joe he has to come to you?
And that it would not be. People advised me not to do a show because they assumed, as it turned out to be correct, that he was supporting Trump and that it would not be a productive piece for me. But just like when I went on Fox News with Bret Baier, my perspective was they may have their bias, but there are people that listen who are open-minded, and I'm going to go there and give them a chance to get to know me and give me a chance to make my case to them.
Bro, Joe Rogan is literally the most open-minded person in media. What is she talking about? If anybody's going to give you a fair shot, love him or hate him, it's going to be Joe Rogan. He's going to give you the chance to come on and speak your piece Whether you support what he does or not is irrelevant. And even whether he supports you or not is actually irrelevant. He would have let her on there to say her piece. I don't think Joe Rogan would have come in with negative intentions to Kamala. If anything, this probably would have been a safer interview than the one she did. The interviews she did leading up to her campaign were an absolute disaster leading up to that election. The Brett Baer interview, that's probably why she lost the election. But see, this is a perfect example of somebody who's too caught up in the establishment. And this is probably why Kamala lost. Trump has a very good understanding and also surrounds himself with people who understand the establishment. He surrounds himself with people who understand that the current establishment now is falling out of power. So, see, Kamala is part of the establishment. Trump is part of the establishment too, but he keeps himself around people who sort of view themselves and his operation as being outside of it. And when you view yourself as being outside of the establishment and looking at the establishment as kind of being over here, that's when you can break new ground and make new systems and come up with the modern ways of doing things. So that's Trump. Trump understands that the establishment is over here and what the people want is over there. Kamala doesn't have that distinction, and that's why she loses.
There was a lot of games being played around the scheduling, and it didn't happen. I don't have anything against the people who turn on to Joe Rogan and would love to be able to talk with him in a direct manner, as I wanted to during the campaign.
Do you, in hindsight, wish you'd just put your foot down and said, I'm going to go do it?
I don't know if it would have made a difference. The issue, it was really about what's the trade-off.
It would have made a massive difference. It would have made such a big difference.
It made a difference. The issue, it was really about what's the trade-off in terms of votes and where I spend my time. Do I spend my time traveling for 5 hours and back versus being for that period of time in a swing state? And that was the trade-off. It wasn't about I don't want to do Joe Rogan. Believe me, at that point in a campaign, it's not about, oh, is somebody coming to me or me going to them? I could care less about that. Pride is not associated with it.
So what's the reason then? She's literally been talking for 1 minute and 42 seconds, and I have no idea what the fuck she's talking about. Was anybody able to, in the chat, maybe I'm crazy, chat, were you able to decipher why she didn't want to go on Rogan from this?
It is literally about return on investment.
I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. So basically she said because she can't control everything. Like, I don't understand. Why do you want to control everything? This isn't a script. Like, dude, how could this woman expect to become the president if she can't speak without a script? She can't even... She literally was just trying to picture herself having a regular conversation, and she, like, malfunctioned. She can't even have a real convo. She's so stupid. And I'm not even Kamala Harris hater, by the way. I'm literally not, but she's just not that intelligent. It's just, I don't understand it. But yeah, her word salads were funny. All of that stuff was funny, man. The 2024 election was unreal. Hopping over to another story in New York. Now, this story is absolutely wild, and it's completely heating up across the internet. New York City jeweler Trax NYC just had a superheated exchange with who he calls scammers at their local shop. Now, Trax NYC is no stranger to controversy. It's been a number of times that he's pulled up on people who've shorted him on percentages and given him a bad deal on jewelry. But this time stood out because he went absolutely next level, scorched earth in this clip. I'm going to let you guys see it and judge for yourselves, and then we're going to break it down.
Where's my f***ing money, motherfucker? Where's my f***ing money? Where's my...
Bro, the knock on the table, like it's a door, is actually a power move. That knock...
Where's my f***ing money?
Why is that such a power move? That's an alpha move.
Where's my f***ing money, motherfucker? Where's my f***ing money? Where's my money? I got this bracelet. Where's my f***ing money? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna f***ing do? Hey, motherfucker. You say VVS, I3, 14 karat, and you're using my name, you bitch! 6447. 6447. Yeah, 6447. Thief! You thief! There's the violence. Stop. Take him out. Stop. Take him out. Yeah. Stop. No. Hands off of me, bro. Take your hands off of me, bro.
Bro, this is like a scene from The Sopranos. Who's this guy? This dude looks like the perfect Sopranos character. That's Joey Longtooth. Joey Longtooth from Yonkers. He did a bid back in his day, but he was a good kid. He was good people.
Take him out. Yeah. No. Hands off of me, bro. Take your hands off of me, bro.
He gives money to charity every year, but he never tells nobody.
Here, bro. Calm down. You give me my money. You're never gonna see that. You never see it in your lifetime.
So he went to storm out after this, but then, so they didn't show the full video there. This was the other development in the fight, which led to an all-out brawl.
Fucking little bitch. You fucking bitch.
Oh, come on, dude. That's such a dirty move. A dude is squaring up on you and you spit in his face? That's how I know you can't fight. That's how I know you can't fight. That's how I know that you had zero shot at defending yourself. You're going to spit in a dude's face, bro. In 2026, in the big 26, you're spitting on somebody.
Fucking little bitch. You fucking bitch. Yo, don't fucking fuck out of here.
Holy shit.
Oh my god. What happened?
Oh, they violent.
Oh, yeah, get that girl.
No way. Dude, this guy's such a dirty fighter. Why is he picking up a stool, though? You're spitting and picking up a stool, bro. Fight.
Yo, David.
In the end, they tried to kill me. Strangled me with my own chain. Get out of this hospital. TracksNYC.com.
He's in the hospital. No, dude's securing a bag. Hang on a sec. Dude's making a video completely fine in the fucking hospital. Dude looks completely uninjured. He has a scratch. He literally has scratches. Bro, he's going for the bag. You're telling me you're in the hospital because you have a scratch?
Get out of this hospital. TracksNYC.com.
Fucking little bitch. You fucking bitch.
What the fuck? Dude, this is so ridiculous, man. I can never tell if this TracksNYC guy is legit or if he's trolling, but he's so fucking funny. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the shop. Actually, let me see. Should I call the shop now? Can I call them on WhatsApp? Let me see if I can call him on WhatsApp, and we'll ask for the interview now to see if he wants to call in the stream and set the record straight. Because I'm in Asia right now, so I don't have cell service. So we'll go on the WhatsApp. I feel like a grandpa on WhatsApp. Let me see. So we'll go to call. Copy their number. TracksNYC. Okay, let's see if we can call them. Not on WhatsApp. No! Okay, guys. Well, we're going to call them. So, TracksNYC, we're going to call you guys coming up soon to see if we can get the interview. Crazy shit. Okay, a couple other clips. There's this one clip that I really wanted to play that I found so funny, dude. Oh my God, where's that clip? No way. Hang on a second. Dude, I don't know why, but I can never find the good clips on my computer. I always find them on my phone. Let me pull this one up right quick. If you guys are liking the stream, though, so far, make sure to like and sub. We got tons more stuff. When there's breaking news and stories about everything that's happening with Venezuela, we're going to play more of those, too. We're just looking at some other clips for now. Why are they fucking me on this clip, dude? This is crazy. Here we go. So I found the clip. Okay. Send it to my Facebook. They literally fucked me on that one, bro. So this clip is one of the funniest clips that I've seen on social media, and I know some people might be offended by it, but that's actually what makes it even funnier to me. Let's take a look at this one here.
I'm from India. What's your name?
My name is Linh.
Where are you from?
Vietnam.
Vietnam. Where are you going
Wait,
now?
are you from? Where are you from?
I'm from India.
Mình hả? Bye bye.
The Vietnamese girls hear he's from India and they just immediately walk away. Bro, this is so savage.
Vietnam. Where are you from?
I'm from India.
Bro, this is so savage, but I have to tell you guys, this is dead on. I don't think I've ever talked about this, but I dated a Vietnamese girl for like 4 months. She was my little girlfriend, and it was cool. It was a cool vibe. Like, she didn't speak English at all, this girl. Not a lick of English. She knew yes, no, maybe some things like that. The whole relationship was on Google Translate. But I will never forget that this girl did not know English, but the only English phrase she knew was "me hate India." Guys, I shit you not. I don't condone this, by the way. I literally don't condone this. I have Indian friends. I love India. But this girl, every time she would see a group of Indian people in Vietnam, she'd say, "No, India. Me hate India. India dirty." I shit you not. She didn't even speak English. And she knew how to say India is dirty. I hate India. Like, bro, you can't make this shit up. But I will tell you guys, this clip is super accurate because the racism against Indians in Vietnam is crazy, dude. It's next level. And if you ever date a Vietnamese girl, bro, get ready for her to be brutally honest about everything, dude. Like, chat, never in my life have I gone through some shit like I did when I was dating a Vietnamese girl, bro. This girl would straight up just say shit to me that I was like literally, she just looked at me one day. But here's the thing. They say shit to you, Vietnamese girls. They'll say something that sounds super brutal to you, but they don't mean it in a bad way. They're saying it because they see solving a problem as a good thing. So this girl literally looked at me and she goes, again, she knew very, very little English, so she would just speak in broken English. And she goes, "You need gym." I'm like, "Excuse me?" She goes, "You need gym. You need gym." And I was like, what the fuck? I never had a girl tell me that shit before. So I'm sitting there visibly like upset, visibly like, what the fuck? And she was confused. She's like, "What? You don't like?" She was like, "You don't like gym?" Because in her mind, she's like, if you go to the gym and lift weights, you're going to get bigger muscles, look and feel better. So in her mind, she's like, why would I not want him to go to the gym? Why would he not want to go to the gym? What is the negative thing? That's how a Vietnamese girl thinks. In the Western world, you would never say to somebody you need to hit the gym because that would be seen as a negative. But that's one of the interesting things that I found dating a Vietnamese girl is that they see the problem solving as a positive thing, not as a negative thing. And I think that's good too for me because I think it's helped me get more legit about my stuff all the way around, whether it's my work or whatever it is. Because like, I think definitely living in Asia has made me have higher standards. Now, if I have a stream that I don't think is good, somebody could tell me, "No, it was good." People always from the West, "No, it was good," or "No, it wasn't that bad," or "No, don't be hard on yourself." Nah, fuck that. It sucked. We got to keep it real. We got to keep it legit. So that shit was so funny. I don't know. The chat's probably like, what the fuck is this dude talking about right now? We clicked this for President Trump and you're talking about this shit. But now, I mean, what am I going to do? Talk about Trump for 9 fucking hours? We got to talk about some different shit. All right, so I guess the jeweler that was involved in that fight got arrested actually too.
Bye. Have a good one. Have a good one. Have a good one. Have a good one. Safety out. Have a good one. Have a good one, brother.
Bro, he does not need a hospital. Get the fuck out of here. This is the dude who is in the least need of medical care I've ever seen in my life. Why is he in the back of an ambulance? You need gym. Chat, every time I go live, I want at least one person to say, "You need gym." Bro, this girl is crazy, bro. I'm not gonna lie. We have a couple other clips here. What type of clips do we have? I feel like there's so many other clips, so many things we could look at. Here's the president of Venezuela being brought into the United States. People are saying that he has the dopest fits, by the way. Like, they say he's had some pretty cool outfits for these pictures. My only question, though, is why do they keep changing his fit? Like, I've seen like 5 pictures of you guys in the chat. I've seen 5 pictures of this guy. He's wearing something different every time. What's up with the outfit changes? Hashtag you need gym. Chat, how crazy would the fitness arc be, by the way, if I just came out here and started going jacked? Chat, would you guys watch me if I started like working out a little bit? What if I would stream to the gym? Nah, that sounds kind of whack. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I would watch that. I love how they fucking just walk him in. We got him, but dude, he looks so unbothered. Why does he look so unbothered by this whole situation? He doesn't give a fuck, dude. This dude deadass does not care. Bro, you know what the funny thing is? People talk about like international law and shit. Like people talk about he's violating international law. Oh my God. And the UN, the treaty, bro. Let's cut the shit for 2 seconds. If international laws were real, all of these dictators would be in jail, including the US president. Just a fact. Tell me how a law is real if you commit the crime and nothing happens. That's like saying murder's illegal and I walk outside and shoot somebody in the head and then go about my day. No charges are pressed, no handcuffs, nothing. At a certain point, you can keep touting that there's a law against murder. There's a law. But if it's not being enforced, if nobody's ever held to account, then what law? And that's why I don't think this dude is that worried. Because if international law actually goes through once and is actually enforced for once, then maybe this dude's in trouble. But he doesn't look too concerned. Because international law is bullshit. That's the thing. International law is in air quotes because it's fucking bullshit. That only applies to people who are poor and who don't have power. And that's for most of the laws, by the way, in the world. The sooner you realize this about the world, the better. Is that most of the laws in our world are only for poor people who are not powerful. Once you become powerful and you have a position of influence or any sort of position of power, there are no laws that really apply to you. There might be a couple laws. You might get hit with a RICO case or you might get hit with, something like that. Maybe a high-scale organized lawsuit. Maybe something like that can go through, or if you do really bad, shady business dealings like a Bernie Madoff type of thing, okay, maybe you're touchable. But really, most of the run-of-the-mill laws, most of the laws that the average Joe would have to follow completely don't apply to you. Even down to a micro level. I was at a hotel recently and I'm sitting in the room and all I can smell is cigarette smoke. Now, I don't really care if people smoke cigarettes, but I don't necessarily want my room to smell like cigarettes if I'm not smoking. So I went and I told the front desk, I said, hey, my neighbor, I think, is smoking cigarettes since there's a door leading to the room here inside my room, one of those double doors in the hotel. I said, I smell cigarette smoke. Can you ask my neighbor to stop smoking? You know what the hotel said to me? They said, oh, it's okay. He could smoke because he already paid the fine. And I said, wait a second. So what you're telling me is not that there's actually a law against smoking or a rule against smoking. You mean to tell me that actually for 1,000 baht here in this currency, I can smoke. So there's a fee to smoke. It's actually not a law against smoking. Really what you're telling me is if there's just a fine and I go on my way, is that I can smoke but for a price. I can smoke if I pay to smoke. There's really not a rule against smoking. There's just a price to smoke. So if you're telling people that, even at the micro level of something like a smoking fine, imagine what you can do if you have $100 million or $200 million or $500 million. Picture the smoking rule on a macro scale. there's really nothing you can't do at that rate. There's really nothing that you can't engage in and be held accountable for. So it's crazy to think, but really, really, guys, when you actually start to break it down, most of the quote-unquote rules in our society don't exist. They simply exist for poor people. Because the more poor you are, the less power you have, the more rules you have to follow. It's very simple. The more rules you have to follow. Let's take a look at a couple more clips from Venezuela of people speaking on the liberation. For anybody who's just joining the live stream right now, we're talking about the USA taking over Venezuela. Some would call it taking over and invading. Others have called it liberating Venezuela from their corrupt dictator leader. This also comes with a side of oil. Matter of fact, $17 billion in oil on the side, which is really what got this party started. You guys remember the scene in Breaking Bad where Jack, actually, I shouldn't spoil it. But let's just say there was a bunch of money in the equation and the character said, oh, this is what got this party started. That's how I'm looking at the oil. It's like, oh, that's how this party got started. But let's take a look at this other clip here. This is a young woman in Miami, people in Miami, speaking about what happened in Venezuela. People who are actually from the region speaking about being in Venezuela and what this means to them.
10 years old, and ever since I was born, every single person in power of the country has abused us and abused of their power. We have been living in a dictatorship for about 20 years. So I can tell you, this feels like a breath of fresh air.
Did you feel this was the only way to get him out?
100%, 100%, yes. He will not leave. He's not the real president of Venezuela. No, it's not an act of war, it's an act of freedom.
I came in this country when I was 10 years old, and ever since I was...
Damn, so I mean, the Venezuelans seem pretty satisfied with this. We have one more clip too. We had this super zesty dude who made a clip, and I'm like, look, this zesty dude, at least he has his facts straight. I could at least listen to him. Let's see what he has to say.
I'm Venezuelan. People are criticizing Trump for what he did in Venezuela. They say he bombed and kidnapped our president. No. Let me be clear. That man was never our president. He's a dictator. We didn't vote for him. Our elections were stolen. And when we protested, our kids were sent to prison. Minors were tortured. Girls were forced to prostitute themselves in prisons just to get food, to get a piece of bread. And where were all of you then? Where were all of you, liberals? Where were all of you? Where were all of you? You said nothing. You did nothing. But now you suddenly care about international law? I mean, now you all talk about human rights? Maduro didn't lead Venezuela. He kidnapped an entire country. So, no, Trump didn't kidnap anyone. No, he did not. He removed our kidnapper. And for that, we're thankful. You can divide politics all you want. But don't tell Venezuelans, do not tell Venezuelans how to feel about being free from a dictatorship. Venezuela, I'm Venezuelan. People are criticizing Trump for what he did in Venezuela. They say he bombed and kidnapped our president. No. Let me be clear. That man was never...
Interesting perspectives, man. So look, these guys don't give a shit. They're not worried about it. Hang on a second. Bro, if the live ended... Chat, are we live? Bro, I'm about to be pissed if the chat just ended. Oh, we're live. Okay. Sorry, the last two lives ended unexpectedly, guys, and it was showing me that I was still on. So, okay, we're still live. Let's go. Damn, I should have never told that story, bro. You guys are going to love that story. Yo, the You Need Jim story is crazy. Should I tag her? Yo, I got to tag her, bro. I got to go back to Vietnam. I'll say, what else do I need? I'm trying to looks max. I'm trying to be like a Clav, whatever that fucking douchebag is, the streamer. Clavicular. What the fuck is that guy, dude? That guy is so funny, man. I'm never going to shit on a live streamer. Like, I don't think that's cool to do as somebody who's in the space. One, it makes you look salty, especially if you're not at that level. Like, if you're not as famous as the guy, it makes you look salty and kind of lame. But also, I just don't think it's good vibes to shit on another streamer. So I would never do that. But, dude, some of these dudes and their trends in this streaming thing cracks me up, bro. That's all I can really say. We have one more clip here posted by the White House. So the White House is currently rage baiting. I don't know if you guys have seen some of these recent clips from the White House, but the rage bait is absolutely diabolical. Let's take a look at this here. They're making edits, guys. They're literally making edits, basically telling this guy, fuck you. You've been captured.
Last night, on the order of the President of the United States, and in support of a request from the Department of Justice, the United States military conducted an apprehension mission in Caracas, Venezuela, to bring to justice two indicted persons, Nicolás and Cecilia Maduro.
Nicolás Maduro had his chance until he didn't. He effed around and he found out.
This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history.
Bro, this literally looks like a Netflix series. This is the craziest edit.
Like, I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't know, now you know. Because this is the way it's going to play out. And I think people need to understand that this is not a president that just talks and does letters and press conferences. And, you know, if he says he's serious about something, he means it. But don't play games. Don't play games with this president's in office, because it's not going to turn out well.
Dude. And they have the logo at the end. Dude, this is like the White House, the TV show. Netflix, are you watching this or not, dude? Like, Netflix literally needs to get on top of this and put this on the airways. Dude, okay, imagine this. Now, I shouldn't even be giving this idea away. It's so strong. But imagine if Netflix got footage like this and then got the real footage of the attack from the U.S. government. Because remember, Trump said he watched all of this go down in 4K at the White House on screens. Imagine if they took footage like this, the music, the edits, and then put the real footage and made a documentary. Forget about it, bro. Netflix, if you want me to come work for you, if you want me to, listen, I can come develop this. We're going to need the royalties even if not. But I can come work for you if you want to develop this, because this shit is next level. This is America Season 5. Like I always say, this is America the TV show, bro. Maybe I'll run a poll in the chat to see how you guys are feeling.
In the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have. It was dark and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York, Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. The illegitimate dictator Maduro was the kingpin of a vast criminal network responsible for trafficking.
Bro, no way they posted this. No way. They posted the military operation with CCR playing. I gotta mute this because I'm not gonna get the copyright strike. No way they posted this with CCR, dude. They're so crazy. Wow. This is so insane to think about, dude. The White House rage baiting is crazy. I see in the chat, as a Venezuelan, I'm very happy that Maduro has been caught and brought to justice. He has killed so many innocent countrymen who simply disagreed with him. There you go, guys. Look, I totally believe it. And again, when all these people are making hype about how Trump shouldn't have done it or Trump is, out of line, I always say we need to look at all the facts first, because the number one thing that I don't trust, you guys, here's what I don't trust. Whenever there's a leader in another country that America is very much against, I don't usually trust it. Like, you look at Gaddafi, you look at all these different situations, you look at even Putin or President Xi. America's always against these powerful leaders no matter what, if they oppose the country, if they create a threat for their country. But also, whenever Trump does something and the mainstream media says it's bad all at the same time, that's another thing that I'm skeptical about. If Trump does something and the whole media rushes to condemn him, chances are it was probably the right thing to do. That's kind of what ends up happening with Trump. And that's why the reporting is so inconsistent when it comes to Trump. Because he can do something good, people want to trash it. When he does something bad, people want to trash it even more. But they never want to give the middle ground to actually assess the facts. And that's the issue that we see with Trump. We can never see any balanced reporting on him. But especially, like I say, when everybody's trying to say this is bad, I'm like, hang on a second. It might actually be good for that reason. Bro, what are they doing? They're posting Ice Spice edits?
Big guy, big guy.
What?
Big guy. SpongeBob, big guy, pants okay. SpongeBob, big guy, pants okay.
What is this?
Big guy, big guy.
Bro, what is happening? What the fuck is happening in America?
Like everything fun. Big guy, big guy, big guy, big guy. SpongeBob, big guy, pants okay. SpongeBob, big guy, pants okay.
Holy shit, dude. I cannot deal with this. I cannot deal with this, man. The White House is crazy. Okay, we're going to hop into another one. What is this now? Leonardo DiCaprio accepts his Desert Palm Achievement Award remotely due to air travel restrictions in Venezuela. Why is he in Venezuela? Or was he supposed to be there? What is this?
Thank you for that introduction. Thank you for standing across from me every day in one battle after another. It was an absolute privilege. The honesty and the intensity and the fearlessness that the both of you brought to this work is rare, and I'm deeply proud of what you put up on screen. And I'm grateful to have shared all these experiences with you. This film exists because of that collaboration. So the rest for never settling and for trusting the process enough to let the work become what it needed to be. My father used to take me to the movies.
I just want to hear what he has to say about it, about the actual war shit.
The Vista Theater in Los Angeles.
Or the invasion, rather, not a war yet.
I live 4 blocks away, and it's now home to one of the last Vista Vision projectors on Earth. It was my neighborhood theater. It was where I first felt the power of cinema. And sitting in that dark room with my father, watching something bigger than myself, I realized how deeply movies can affect all of us. And I think all of us share a version of that moment. At some point, a film rearranged who we are. And that feeling is why we're here today.
Bro, am I the only one who just tunes out when I hear a celebrity actor talking? Like, it's not even that they necessarily have bad things to say. I just genuinely don't care about any of their opinions. The only time I want to see Leonardo DiCaprio speaking is when he's reading lines. I just don't care what he has to say about the world. He's in a position of privilege. He's in a position of having a relatively easy life. He's not affected by anything politically in the world that's going on. And really, no matter how things go, he's rich enough not to care. And that goes for all actors. So I really don't care what their perspective is on these issues. Again, it doesn't mean they're bad. It doesn't mean they're evil. And it doesn't mean they can't have their opinion. I just don't want to hear it. I just don't give a fuck. Like, and again, it's nothing against DiCaprio. Dude, I think DiCaprio's one of the GOATs. Like, he's a legend. He's a great actor, but That's about it. I don't care how a rich dude who spends his days on a yacht reading lines for the next blockbuster movie, banging his 25-year-old girlfriend. I don't really care how he views the Venezuela takeover, to be fucking honest with you. And neither should you. Their takes are completely irrelevant. I don't even know why the fuck I'm playing that. Who gives a shit what this guy thinks about anything? I'm the only one who can have takes. I'm the only one. I'm just playing. I'm like, yeah, he can't talk. I can talk, but he can't talk, damn it. That's funny as fuck. See, the chat seems to pretty much agree. But see, I'm not an actor. I have to actually make my, name off of doing my shit. So I'm at least in the right lane. He didn't have to act when he was in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Bro, you're... You guys are fucking funny, man. Let's see. There's a Fuentes clip I wanted to play. What do you guys like Nick Fuentes or no? What do you guys think? You guys watch him or no? He was saying one about weed that I saw. I feel like Fuentes has some pretty decent takes sometimes, but there's times he loses me too, and this might be one of them. Let me see.
Thank you.
Super safe.
Let's see what this one says. Do we get a Nick W or a Nick L?
And sent $5. I remember you once said people need alcohol to get through their lives and deal with people because familiarity breeds contempt and PPL needed to unwind or something. Couldn't the same be said for marijuana? Allows PPL to unwind.
If you smoke pot, you're a faggot.
Reality person sent $5.
You're a fucking faggot for even saying that. Well, weed is just like alcohol. No, it's not. You want to know why? Alcohol's been around forever. We bless alcohol. Weed makes you gay. It makes you lazy. It makes you stupid. It causes psychosis. It's totally different.
What? Well, first of all, weed's been around forever too. I mean, weed would have to have been around for just as long, if not longer, than alcohol. It's a naturally occurring plant. It's like opium or something. I think it's all been around forever.
Just like alcohol, no, it's not. You want to know why? Alcohol's been around forever. We bless alcohol. Weed makes you gay. It makes you lazy. It makes you stupid.
What do you mean weed makes you gay? What is that? What does that come from?
It's a psychosis. It's totally different. And if you like weed, fuck you. Seriously. No joke. It's just not even worth arguing. If you like weed, fuck you. Seriously. I hate weed. I hate people that smoke weed.
Bro definitely got shoved in a locker by a pothead in high school. There's no other way, dude. Nick Fuentes, bro, listen. What's your beef with weed? He has a beef with weed now?
If you like weed, fuck you. Seriously. I hate weed. I hate people that smoke weed. If you like it, just shut the fuck up and kill yourself. Fuck you. I hate weed. And any fucking loser that says, well, caffeine is a drug. Well, alcohol is a drug. Well, caffeine's a drug. You're a fucking idiot. And you should kill yourself.
Bro, why is he so angry, though?
I'm kidding. Don't kill yourself. But, you should shut the fuck up and just stop. I hate weed, and just people that smoke weed are insufferable losers and should just be disregarded. It's for scum. It's for absolute scum and degenerates and fucking losers, and I hate it. So, no. And I feel differently about alcohol. I don't like alcohol. I've never drank alcohol. I think people generally shouldn't. I think it's super unhealthy, but you know what? I think that if we didn't have alcohol, we would all be killing each other.
Chat's saying he looks drunk. He actually does seem a little bit buzzed in this clip, I can't lie. But he claims he doesn't drink alcohol. But when you actually listen to the way he's talking, I thought you guys were talking about me. That's why I was like, I seem drunk to you guys? I'm literally drinking a bottle of water. But you guys are talking about him. Let's run it back. He does kind of sound a little buzzed.
Like alcohol. I've never drank alcohol. I think people generally shouldn't. I think it's super unhealthy. But you know what? I think that if we didn't have alcohol, we would all be killing each other because people are absolutely insufferable.
Bro, for somebody who doesn't drink alcohol, he kind of sounds like a drunk uncle. He's like a dry drunk. He kind of sounds drunk.
I feel differently about alcohol. I don't like alcohol. I've never drank alcohol. I think people generally shouldn't. I think it's super unhealthy. But you know what? I think that if we didn't have alcohol, we would all be killing each other because people are absolutely insufferable. People are absolutely insufferable.
Yeah, I was thinking pills, actually. It's kind of got that slurry sound of pills. I'm not accusing him of being on anything, but if he was on something, it would be pills. Nick, if you want to come on the stream to clarify, you have an open invite.
And impossible to deal with. And if people did, I don't drink alcohol and I don't want to be around anybody. And I think if I drank alcohol, I'd be a lot more fun as a person. I think I'd be a lot more fun and people would like me more. I'd be easier to get along with, but I can't because I have to be a machine, you know? But it's definitely necessary as a social lubricant. But weed is for losers. Weed is just anti-human, anti-life. It's horrible.
Damn, such a strong take against weed. So here's my thing with the weed. So first of all, somebody definitely took the girl that Nick Fuentes had a crush on and smashed her in the back of their car while they smoked a blunt or something. Like, this has to be something personal. I think this roots back to high school or middle school for sure for Nick, because this is a dude who's obviously got a lot of issues. He's obviously got a lot of concerns about what's happened to him in the past. Probably not the happiest guy. Let's just put it that way. This is a dude who I think has a lot of vendettas against a lot of people for a lot of things. The dude's never gotten laid. The dude's never been to a party. The dude's never had fun in his entire life. So it kind of makes sense why he wouldn't like weed. Here's what I'll say about weed. And I think Nick maybe is onto something to a degree here. It's not the worst drug in the world, but it's not as good as people say either. And here's what I mean by that. Before weed was legalized in a lot of America and in all of Canada, there was a huge push from the medical community talking about how weed is a medical drug. That was the big push that everybody put out. That weed is not just for a bunch of assholes that want to get high. It's actually for people with Tourette's and for terminal cancer and, seizure disorders and all things like that. And the thing about these claims is that they're all true, okay? If you have a, serious condition, epilepsy, Tourette's, any of these, even cases of anxiety, weed can be a big help for you, and it actually is medically viable for a lot of people. The only thing about this argument which makes it collapse is that 99% of the people consuming marijuana once it's legal are not consuming them for this condition. They don't have Tourette's. They don't have epilepsy. They don't have Crohn's disease. They're just a bunch of douchebags that want to get high. So what happened was all the douchebags that just want to get high started saying that this is a medical drug. And not only is it medical, well, it cures all ailments and it cures your sleep problems too. And it makes food taste better and it makes sex feel better. All the Joe Rogan bullshit that we were hearing in 2008. Because I really do blame Joe Rogan for a lot of this. The rise of marijuana in the modern age was due to shills like Joe Rogan who were just saying bullshit about it, saying it's a no-fail medical substance, that it's the greatest drug in the world. The thing about weed, like I said, it's a pretty good drug. It's one of the less addictive drugs, but it's still a drug, and it still does things to you that drugs will do to you. It still encourages patterns of behavior that are drug use behavior. So instead of just putting it in the recreational category and being honest and saying, look, it's kind of like alcohol, but safer. It has some drawbacks. Be careful with it. It can be addictive. Instead of being honest about that, people wanted it legalized so much that they just said it's a wonder drug. It's a drug that has no downsides, no consequences. That's total bullshit. So that's really where I stand on weed. I think weed is cool. I try not to smoke weed. I like to smoke some weed, but I try not to smoke weed. And really what I think is if I could choose to do it or not, which I guess I can, but I would have chosen to never try it. Let's put it that way. If I could have went back and chosen to never try weed, I would have done that. The thing about weed that's a problem is that if you start having issues in your life because of weed, you will never be able to tell, because that's what weed hides from you. Really, it doesn't have that much of an effect on your thinking other than it sort of changes your perception of where you're at. So, interesting. At the end of the day, though, I think it's a good thing that these influencers are encouraging kids not to do drugs. You could say that, right? Let's go to another clip. I think we got more clips. What is this now? Watch a couple streamers. Let me see. I want to get a good one. This is crazy.
Holocaust didn't happen, and they were like, we did not raise you this way. I remember coming home from college in my second semester. You know, I got home in the spring, and I was like, Mom, Dad, Hitler was awesome. Hitler was right.
Oh, come on, bro. Come on, dude. Don't be saying stupid shit. I can't play that. I'm not gonna play that, dude.
Miss about hanging out with women is that women smell good. Not like the girl smell, you know, like women have like a weird smell, like a weird like natural scent. But I do miss, I talk about this a lot, I do miss like whenever you get to hang out with a professional woman, they always smell good. They always smell like a businesswoman and are clean and stuff.
See, people in the chat, by the way, I have to answer this one because I didn't see the chat. People say weed is natural, so it's not a drug. That's an invalid point. Opium is natural. It's used to make heroin. It grows naturally from God's creation. Coca leaf is natural. It's used to make cocaine. Pretty much any property of a drug is natural. So, yeah, that argument is not that good.
You get to hang out with a professional woman, they always smell good. They always smell like a businesswoman and are clean and stuff. And I do like that about women. And I will leave it at that. You know, like I always, like I look at someone like Kamala Harris and I'm like, what a fucking bitch. But I'm also like, she probably smells really fucking good. But
what the fuck is he talking about, dude? I've never thought that about Kamala Harris. I thought she was, well, let me chill for a second.
Look at Kamala, I'm like, what an insufferable bitch. But I'm also like, damn, I want to smell her hair. I want to give her a big hug. I want to go to like a party where she's at and be like, hey, hi, and give her a, and then sniff her hair. And I want to...
Bro, this dude needs to get laid. This dude needs to get laid in the worst way. Nick, let me tell you something, brother. We're around the same age. We're both streamers. We've both been accused of being, you know, fringe conspiracy theorists and all this. Here's what we'll do, Nick. Come hang out with me. We'll do a stream. We'll do a podcast. We'll do an interview. And then we're going to go get you some bitches, my guy, because you need it. Do you understand me? Nick, listen. I know you talk about America first. How do you think you're going to be able to protect America if you got no bitches? Think about it, Nick. What is a true conqueror? What does a true leader, what does a true male kingmaker need to have in order to excel, in order to protect? What is the main motivation behind even protecting a nation? You got to protect the women. You got to have a little bit of women in your life to motivate you. So, Nick, here's what we'll do. I'm going to come to Chicago because I was going there anyway. I'll do your show. You do my show. After the show, we're going to go out because you got clout. Listen, I'm doing my thing. I'm not Nick Fuentes, though, okay? I'm doing my thing. I'm doing good over here. You know, I do okay. But I'm not Nick Fuentes, though. Let's use it. Let's use it to your advantage and change your perspective on a couple things because I guarantee you, when you actually manage to get laid, it's going to change a lot of your takes. It's going to help your work. I guarantee you. And you'll still have the same thoughts about women, but you got to get laid. And look, okay, they say he wants to wait till marriage. Let's find him a wife then. You know, I don't listen. You want to wait till marriage? You can wait till marriage. You can do whatever you got to do. You got to get some bitches.
Smell her hair. Hey, and then I want to sniff her hair. I want to grab a fistful of her hair and sniff it. Same with Nikki.
What the fuck? Come on, Nick. You're killing me, bro.
Live chat. Okay, that's pathetic. What the fuck? Says Snickersaurus Rex. He goes, what the fuck? He's gone insane. All right,
Stupid.
relax, faggots. But can you relate to me? Is that relatable at all, or am I totally off base? Am I completely off base, or is that true?
What the fuck is he talking about right now, dude? I don't even understand. I mean, yeah, okay, a woman has a nice fragrance, but dude, that's about as far as it goes.
It's so true. People know, no, it's not true. I 100% do that. True. It's real AF. Relatable.
That reminds me of the character in the Charlie's Angels, the remake, where he was after the girl to cut a strand of her hair off, and he kept sniffing it. That's kind of the vibes Fuentes is giving me, bro. I'm not gonna lie, dude. You're scaring the girls right now, Nick. I don't think this is helping.
Could not be more on point. Women smell good. It's true. No, says the guy that said. The guy that didn't like it says no. It's not relatable at all. No, it is not relatable at all. There's something about like a professional woman from like the 80s. I want to smell like Elaine from Seinfeld.
What?
You know, Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
The fuck?
I'm talking about I'm not talking about a weird smell. I'm talking about like perfume. You know, like Julia Louis-Dreyfus in Seinfeld, that's probably the peak smell. Could you imagine?
Bro, I can't. I can't. What is this? What is he talking about, man? Julia Dreyfus. That's the craziest reference.
The smell of like her clothes, like the leather and the perfume. What were we talking? I don't even remember what the question was. Oh, why do they wear perfume? Probably because of people like me. Dasha's gonna say, you're scaring me. What was that tweet by Anna?
I can't watch this, bro. Nick, we'll help you. That's all I'm gonna say. Nick, we'll help you, brother. We're gonna send you some love. Let me see what this is. So this says The View called out Trump for calling Governor Tim Walz a retard. And they also called him out for calling a female reporter Piggy. And they wanted to, I guess, trap Stephen A. Smith into reacting to this. Why, by the way, why does The View do this all the time? So what The View will do is they'll bring a person on the show and then they'll bring up somebody else's political views, like Trump, what he's doing or how he sees things politically. And then they'll ask the guest as if it's their position. They'll be like, so Trump has deported 100,000 illegal immigrants. How do you feel about that? To a guest who's completely unrelated. Super dirty move by The View. But let's take a look at this here. See what they did to Stephen A. Smith and how he handled it. I have a feeling he handled it well.
Trump is claiming that he aced the cognitive test. Mm-hmm. Even though he's going on late night Truth Social tirades, in the middle of the night, he's texting and calling Governor Walz a name that we don't use anymore to disability. He's attacking female reporters as piggy and ugly. Mm-hmm. He's falling asleep in the middle of a meeting. I mean, I said yesterday that Marco Rubio is boring, but not that boring that he would fall asleep.
But bro, they never pulled any clips when Biden fell asleep, did they? Dude, all I remember on The View when Biden was asleep at the wheel is them telling us how he wasn't asleep and how he was so good at his job. Why is it that when Trump, who's like, 80 years old, and I'm not saying he should be sleeping on the job, but why is it that if Trump dozes off for half a second, that's a top story on The View? When Joe Biden is literally dead, running the country, he's dead. He's up there being propped up with a wooden stick in his spine like a fucking scarecrow. And there's somebody reading lines, like making his mouth move from behind him. That's cool to The View, but Trump can't just sit there.
So what do you think's going on with him?
Trump is being Trump.
Really? There's nothing cognitively wrong there?
Well, I'm not saying whether there is or isn't. What I'm saying is 77 million people don't care. They voted for him. And those same 77 million people
Is it still that number?
They would do it. Well, you could say that it is or isn't, but the point is he's the president of the United States. Despite the onslaught of stuff that was coming his way, he knocked off folks, and the Democrats let him because they weren't on their game. Now you have to look at, because obviously he's not going to circumvent the 22nd Amendment, which will enable him to run for a third term. So now you're talking about J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is considered the adult in the room, the Secretary of State, National Defense, the National Security Advisor. You got J.D. Vance, he's the vice president, but he seems more Trump-ish in terms of how he conducts himself and how he's willing to go after people. So who is Trump going to support? One of the things that I talked about on my show was that I said, Don't fall for it. Look at what Trump is doing. Trump is positioning himself to remain in power even if he isn't the president. Yeah. He wants to make sure he maintains that level of influence. And so because of when you see what he's done with the Honduras president, letting him out pardoning him, even though the man is alleged to assist in funneling 400 tons of cocaine into the United States.
He was serving 45 years.
He was serving 45 years, absolutely. And you let him out in the same breath. You're bombing people in the Caribbean for the very thing that you said was a problem.
Well, let's talk about the bombing.
He's doing what he's doing, but in the end, what it comes down to is that you're going to have to beat him because he is going to make sure he dictates who his successor is going to be.
If he stays away.
Anticipate he's going to be away.
My friend,
Interesting response and perspective here from Stephen A. Smith, and I tend to agree with the sentiment behind what he's saying here. He's saying, look, you may have a lot of thoughts on the way the president conducts himself. You may be offended by what he says. You may even wish that he said it in a different way. But guess what? The president is still the president, and things are going to run in the way in which he wants them to. Now, whether or not this is a good thing for America is a different conversation. But ultimately, the facts are the facts, and what Stephen A. Smith just said is completely dead on. And you know, I tend to agree. I feel like we need to get to a point with Trump where we just don't give him so much attention for things. We need to understand that this guy shoots off at the mouth. He says off-color remarks. He says things in a clunky way or a brash way, a way that may be different and unorthodox from what we're used to. And we need to sort of have a Trump filter in our brain, a filter that sort of just filters out the Trumpisms and the eccentric tendencies and whatever the case may be, and just filters right to what he actually has to say, because we are stuck with him. This guy's not going anywhere. And even after this term, just like Stephen A. said, he's going to find a way to try to stay in power. He's going to try to find a way to stay relevant. Now, I don't necessarily buy the things about the third term. Nothing really surprises me anymore, so I guess anything is possible. But Stephen A.'s point still applies. Look, we have him. This is the guy that we're with right now, and he's not going anywhere. So I do think that we sort of need that filter. And I think that is a filter that, again, we need to a certain extent. It doesn't mean that Trump can get away with anything and everything, or that he should be able to get away with everything. But if he actually is, I think we need to focus on systems to prevent that from happening again. Yes, we can oppose it, but if we waste all of our energy crying about what Trump said or crying about what Trump did and nothing changes, we're still going to be in the same position that we were in before the complaining. So look, I think it's an interesting answer. I don't know why The View puts guests in this situation to answer for Donald Trump's actions. Stephen A. Smith is not the person who called a female reporter piggy. He's not the person who's called Tim Walz anything. So I really don't know why they're asking this to Stephen A. Smith. But a pretty good response from him, I'm not going to lie. Let me see what else we got. If you guys are new to the channel, man, make sure to hit that subscribe. We're on the road to 100,000 subs. Today, we hit 75K, baby. So I'm super, super happy about that, 75K. Make sure to show some love. Joe Rogan here says, you can't give people that much control over what offends them or what you can and can't say. So this is Joe Rogan talking about censorship. And I guess censorship that started in the UK leading up to their current laws where you can actually be jailed for offending people.
I think it should be legal. I don't think you should have to tell your fucking name if you want to talk shit about something that's going on that affects your life or that affects your job or that affects your kid's school. You shouldn't be subject to fucking prosecution because you said something about the school board, because you just felt like being an anonymous person saying they're a bunch of fat slobs and retards, and you wanted to say that, but you couldn't say that because then you would get in trouble with your kids, would get in trouble and this and that.
Well, that's what's happening in England right now, isn't it?
It 100% is. It 100% is.
That's really happening?
Yes, it's really happening. You can't give people that much fucking control. You can't give people that much control over what offends them or what offends people, what you could say, what you can't say.
Can you imagine if they would come at the end of every episode, they'd be waiting outside of your
Yeah, but here's the thing, man. This is a new thing. This wasn't England 10 years ago, all right? This is a new thing, and it's a scary thing. It's a really scary thing. They arrested thousands of people for social media posts. Thousands.
That's crazy. Were they threatening people?
Well, this is what they're doing, man. First of all,
No, were the posts threatening?
No. They don't have to be. They don't have to be threatening.
What?
Yeah, they could be misgendering. There's a lot of things that you could get in
Why
trouble
be
for.
alive if you can't even think or say what you want?
People could deem it's racist if it's anti-migrant. You know, they have a migrant crisis over there in Europe. People can deem it, you know, anti-migrant and Islamophobic, and you can. There's a bunch of, you know, them that are threats. People threaten people online, which totally makes sense. So
Yeah.
you shouldn't be allowed to threaten people online. But when you get past that, if you have an opinion about something, something that's affecting the country that you live in, I think you should be able to express yourself. And I don't necessarily think that people should know that it's you. I don't think you should have to carry that around. Like you should be able to express yourself and not have to be famous. I don't think there's a problem with that.
You mean and not have to have it be known? So you're saying that Elon should be able to also have a separate voice if he wants to, or anyone
if you want
should.
to.
Joe Rogan speaking on the censorship happening in the UK and now spreading across the world. And I must say, I think Joe is completely dead on in his assessment here. This is a really scary thing to have watched actually as a Canadian citizen, because a lot of people don't realize in Canada, we've had similar legislation as they have over in the UK about freedom of speech. There's legislation in place where you can't misgender somebody or you're going to face legal consequences. We saw what happened with Dr. Jordan Peterson in Canada, the re-education in air quotes of Dr. Jordan Peterson for failing to adhere to the censorship and thought police in Canada. So this is a serious issue that also hits close to home for me. Now, to Theo Vaughn's point about what the nature of these comments are, there has been a wide nature of comments actually landing people in legal trouble and putting them behind bars in the UK. Now, some of the comments are threatening, and of course, like Joe Rogan says, and I agree with this as well, threatening comments, terroristic threats, or anything of that nature should be prosecuted and dealt with in any case. But for people simply expressing themselves, there is no argument for those people actually being jailed. There's no argument that can convince me this should be happening. And it's happening a lot. People in the UK are even being prosecuted for liking comments which were deemed offensive. So imagine that you didn't even post something, you see something on Facebook and you liked it, and now you're actually going to prison or jail or whatever, being prosecuted, charged in the UK. Absolutely shocking state of affairs, and it just goes to show how far things can go once they start to move forward. But this to me is super, super frightening, and I definitely think it's a fall of modern day society. And this is why I'm very careful with what I do online. Look, some people will wonder why I didn't like their stuff or why I didn't share their stuff. Dude, I don't like anything. I pretty much don't like anything. I don't really share anything except for my own work, because who knows where this shit's going to go. You know, right now, a like on TikTok, for example, is anonymous. If I like somebody's comment on TikTok, there's no way to go and see that I actually liked it unless it's your comment, right? The public can't see the comments I like on TikTok. But let's say they change that tomorrow. What if they change that tomorrow? Suddenly, all the likes that I've made on TikTok comments are public, and I don't remember what they all are. Next thing you know, I'm going to jail in Canada because I liked a comment that's anti-immigrant, or I liked a comment that was off-color humor. Because we have to remember, too, as much as their laws change, what people are offended by changes, too. People are offended by new things every day. There's things that were not deemed offensive years ago that now are deemed offensive. So imagine if I liked a comment 5 years ago that wasn't deemed offensive at the time. They decide to make TikTok likes on comments public, and then I end up being prosecuted for those likes. This is why I don't trust anything on the internet, and I don't like anything on the internet, because I don't want to leave my name on a piece of a permanent database that I don't know where it's going. I have no clue what they're going to do with this information. But it's all there. So the less you give these people to work with, the better it is for you. You can't give people shit nowadays. So yeah, guys, I'm just going to keep watching some stuff. I'm chilling. Having a phenomenal day here in Thailand. We're grinding so fucking hard, bro. We're already 2.5 hours into the stream almost. So make sure to hit that sub and that like. If you guys are new to the party, I'm live every day. We got the best takes, the best clips, everything fresh. Oh, I guess Maduro was on the Joe Rogan podcast. There we go. You guys are quick. You guys are quick with the edits, man. I'm not going to lie. You guys are really, really quick with it. I like that. I'm going to turn on the AC. We're going to look at a couple more things here. I don't even know where my AC shit went. Oh, yeah. There was this comment here from DiCaprio that I guess was taken from his speech, which I thought was kind of interesting. So DiCaprio was talking, I guess he was talking about a lot of different stuff. He said he wondered if people will still have the appetite for movie theaters. DiCaprio said it's changing at lightning speed. We're looking at a huge transition. First documentaries disappeared from cinemas. Now dramas only get finite time and people wait to see it on streamers. I don't know. Do people still have the appetite? Or will cinemas become niche like jazz bars? He says, I just hope enough people who are real visionaries get opportunities to do unique things in the future that are seen in cinema. What do you guys think? Do you guys think the movies are out of style? I feel like the movies may become a thing of the past, actually. I mean, I haven't personally gone to the movies. When's the last time I went to a movie? Because I feel like every time I go to a movie, it's not on my own accord. I feel like it's either a date, which is a really shitty date, by the way. I feel like when it comes to ranking like date ideas, movie dates are actually the bottom tier. It's such a shitty date idea because there's no time to talk or really do anything. And the movie's never good. And I have to sit here and act like I'm interested in this movie, but it's 2026 and the movies are never good. So I sit there with this girl and maybe we hold hands, maybe we don't, but ultimately it doesn't make a difference and leads to nothing. And we just sit in this dark room and we don't talk, surrounded by strangers eating popcorn directly in my ear. And then we go home and we forget all about the movie. So, terrible date idea to go to the movie date. Don't get it. Way better to do it at home. Maybe that's why people are done with the movie theater, because you've given me movies at home. If I have a movie date at home, at least we can fuck. If I have a movie date in the theater, I'm just sitting there like a jerk off. So think about the competition you have. You're competing with a seat and people chewing popcorn behind me, or literally my own bed, my whole room, my whole house, and all my own snacks. Plus you got every movie on every streaming service and you expect me to pay you to go to a movie? Bro, no. No deal. No deal. How are you supposed to compete with that, dude? So that's what I would say. Actually, movies will become a thing of the past. I think Leo's got a total prediction here when it comes to this. Let me see here. Okay, so we talked about this story yesterday. We're going to go ahead and look this up now. So Aiden Ross and Tekashi 6ix9ine, of all people, are currently in a rap beef with Doechii, of course, the female artist from Kendrick Lamar's label TDE, and they just dropped a diss track to Doechii, which is like one of the most hilarious things I think I've ever said as a headline. Let's go ahead and take a look at this now and see just exactly what they had to say about Doechii. Apparently it was quite funny. So hang on a second. Is this the official music video? Okay, cool. So drop a rating 1 through 10, guys, in the chat to review the song. And let's see if this is any good. This is 6ix9ine making the return to rap music, bro. So 6ix9ine, I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to give you an honest shot. Don't fumble. Wait, who's he dissing? He can't be dissing Doechii. I didn't think she was a Muslim. Who's he dissing for eating bacon? Wait a second. We got to look this one up right quick. So we go to the Genius article. Who's he talking about eating bacon? Oh, he's talking about Lil Durk. Okay, so Genius says 6ix9ine is directly bringing in his beef towards Lil Durk, whom he is accused of being a fake Muslim because of his conversion to Islam in prison. Bro, these rappers turning fake Muslim always cracks me up. Okay, so this makes sense. Dude, I actually like this, though, because fuck all these fake Muslims in the entertainment business, dude. That move is so dirty. To claim any religion to try to get clout or status in a business or to try to get reduced charges, that's got to be bad karma, bro. That can't be good. Bro, Aiden Ross calling anybody gay is a bit of a stretch, by the way. I wouldn't be pointing the finger about being zesty if I was Aiden. And Aiden, that's no disrespect, bro. I got mad love for Aiden Ross. I think he's one of the streaming goats. But bro's a little zesty. I think even he would tell you he was a little zesty. Hey, let's go. Bro, I feel like 6ix9ine is actually trying on this song. Do you guys notice that? Like, even 6ix9ine has said that he doesn't really try with his music, but I feel like there's a little bit of effort here, and I kind of like it. Like, look, if we were to take away all of the antics and all the bullshit that he pulled, 6ix9ine actually isn't that bad. Like, when you go listen to the old stuff, he had some actually decent hits and a unique style, but he was just insufferable to deal with. So I feel like now, if he's becoming more likable and putting work in on the music, he actually might have a path for redemption here. I'm not going to lie. People like him more already. So if he keeps doing his thing, he could probably make it work. She wanna rap saving, bitch, you gotta fuck if you tryna make it. Nigga, I'm black. Oh, this is Cuff him? Okay, shout out Cuff him. On my scat, what the fuck my lean? Nigga, free my dad. Nigga, free my pops. Won't fuck with the cops. Fuck TJ, that nigga I almost lost his life over chips and guap. He ain't get to dip his chips and guap. Fuck that, you know I'm a Jew. Beef with me, you know I'm a Oh, he did the rubbing his hands? He did the meme, bro. Aiden did the meme. No fucking way, bro. Hey, shout out Youth Among Us. I'm a Jew. Beef with me, you know I'm a Jew. Dude, this is why I love Aiden, is because he has a sense of humor about himself, bro. Man, if everybody in this world could just have a sense of humor about themselves, their race, their religion, everything about them, this world would live in harmony, bro. I think racist humor is actually the cure to racism. Because this is my generation's way of coping with it, dude. That's what people don't understand. Our generation, our only way to cope with actual racism is to just call each other a fucking Jew and call your black friend black and call your Asian friend Asian, and we all just laugh about it, bro. That's the best way to conquer racism. I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this, dude. That is the way that we combat it, because we don't know what else to do. All this talking and shit isn't working. I'd rather we all just make fun of our fucking selves.
That nigga almost lost his life over chips and guap. He ain't get to dip his chips and guap. Fuck that, you know I'm a Jew. Beef with me, you know I'm a Sue. Cease and desist, he ain't know what to do. These German bitches, they wanna fuck on a Jew. Fuck Dochi. Dirty bitch partner views. Dirty bitch. Dirty
Oh, he called her a dirty bitch. Bro, calling Dochi a dirty bitch is crazy. I'm not gonna lie. He's got the Spotify gift cards in front of the Bugatti, bro. What is happening in this video? What is happening? Bro, he tripled down. He tripled down on the dirty bitch. That's not one, that's two, that's 3 times the charm. Tripling down on calling her a bitch, that's diabolical, dude. So is Kendrick gonna drop a rap beef now? Is he gonna do like They Not Like Us Part 2? And just start lying about a bunch of shit again? Is Kendrick gonna pretend that Aiden Ross has a daughter and just make up mad fucking lies and just make up stupid shit? Is that what that was next?
She wanna rap, say it. Bitch, you gotta fuck if you tryna make some dance in the wall, shake it. Get you a bag, break it. She wanna rap, say it. Bitch, you gotta fuck if you tryna make.
Bro, tell me why he sounds like Ice Spice here. He stole Ice Spice's flow. That definitely had some Spice fingerprints on it. Nah, bro, this is actually cool. You know why I like this? I'll tell you guys why I like this. Is because it's... Oh, what does it say at the end? Hang on, there was a message at the end. It says, all Atlanta rappers... Oh, what the fuck? All Atlanta rappers, UPS is hiring. Might as well go get your CDLs... since it's fuck the streets. Your boy Danny. Or 6ix9ine, stupid for that one. That kind of ruined the end of the video. But you know why this is funny, bro? Is because it doesn't take itself too seriously. It doesn't insist upon itself. That's what I like about this video. This is so clearly goofy. And bro, I feel like rap is in a position where it takes itself terminally seriously. Like it literally takes itself so seriously that it's killing itself. Because it's not that serious. But people are treating this like they're going to war. Like people treat the rap game like it's the most serious shit. It's not. And I love seeing people coming in and just goofing around. Definitely a good clout move by 6ix9ine. I mean, look, this is going to help his status. It's going to help his clout. It's going to help his engagement. So I feel like it's nothing but a W for him. Aiden Ross and Cuffham on a crazy run. Shout out to the two of them, man. And I look forward to our collabs coming up in the future because I'm going to keep grinding until we get the collab with all these dudes. But fuck it, dude. And fuck Dochi, by the way. And I really don't care. I never liked Dochi. I don't like anything about Dochi. She's not likable. She doesn't seem like a nice person. She doesn't make good music. I'm not even being a hater. I'm just calling it like I see it. To me, being a hater is to actively be like wishing on somebody's downfall. This is the distinction. If you can not like somebody without being a hater. Because to me, that doesn't translate into hate. I'm not commenting on Dochi's shit saying it sucks. I'm not sending her DMs. I'm not doing shit on Reddit, negative threads. Like, I'm not hating. I'm not actively hating. I just don't like it. So I'm still not going to be a hater, but I can also say my piece. And I don't like anything about this chick. And I feel like she's disingenuous. That's my opinion. I'm not saying it to take away from her. I hope she has a successful career. But I'm not buying it. And obviously other people aren't buying it either. So I'm fucking with these dudes. 6ix9ine may have officially won me over for the first time. He may have officially won me over. You will get knocked out. Been hearing that for a long time and I'm still here. So I'm still waiting, buddy. I live stream my location every day and I've never been touched. So come do something, pussy. Okay, are we out of clips or what are we doing? Let me see what we got here. Bro, it keeps showing me the same shit. Did I really look at all the news today, bro? It keeps showing me the same shit. Oh, shit, look at this. Selena Powell. No, this is crazy. So famous rap groupie Selena Powell, if there even is such thing as being a famous rap groupie, that sentence just doesn't sit right, completely exposed Offset after posting a video proving that she slept with him on New Year's Eve. Let's take a look at this video clip here exposing Offset. Oh, come on, dude. This is so bad. Flipping him off in his sleep? Wow. Bro, this is such a cowardly move. And I don't even care who it is, by the way. This could be male, female. This is just cowardly. But to film somebody in their sleep, period, is just super weirdo behavior. But as bad as this is, the responsibility, in my opinion, still falls on Offset. Because Offset, my guy. Now I'm talking to you now. Now we're having a one-on-one, you and me. Why would you sleep with that girl? You know, last time I checked, the Migos popped off in 2012. So you've been famous and you've been rich and you've been in the game since then. You've been in this for 15 years now. And you've dated some of the top thoughts. Look, I hate to call her a thought, but you've dated, it's like a new category at the Grammys. Top pop artists, top thoughts. You've dated some of the top thoughts. You literally dated their leader, Cardi B. So Offset, you should know how these women operate by now, bro. You should know the way a dirty woman like Selena Powell is going to operate. There's a reason rappers don't want to mess with this girl. Because she's been doing the same shit. For people who never did their homework, this is the girl who was fucking rappers, taking pictures with them, and then posing as their booking agent, asking people for deposits for them to come to a show, like let's say, 42 Doug or whoever. Not to throw him under the bus, but that's just a random name. This bitch would literally say, 42 Doug, I'm his booking agent. Say it to a club. Send me $1,000 deposit and then 42 Doug will come do a show and I have proof that I'm with him. This chick was doing that and just blocking people. She's been known to pose as celebrity managers. She's tried to extort celebrities. I think she got Drake's number and gave it away. This is a known shit disturber who uses sex as a weapon in this business. She even fucked with Snoop Dogg and exposed him for doing shit. So Offset, look, a lot of bad things could happen to him from this situation, but ultimately, it's on him. I got to pin it on him because he's sleeping with a girl that he knows is trouble. And guys, trust me, I've learned this lesson the hard way. Don't stick your dick in crazy, bro. I swear to God, I beg you, chat. I beg of you. Do not stick your dick in crazy. It's not worth it. It's going to fuck up your whole life, especially when you have options. That's why this actually makes me angry, because the only reason a person typically is picking a bad apple is because they don't have any good apples. Why would you pick a bad apple if you have a whole crop of good ones? This dude has options. Offset has an apple tree. You understand me? Offset has a whole apple tree in his backyard, and this dude is picking bad apples. It's inexcusable. So Set, you got, bro. I'm not going to lie. I feel bad for you, but I don't feel bad for you because you got. You set yourself up. You can't be sleeping with girls like that, bro. Come on now. This was Zia's. Zia's calls out Aiden Ross and tells him to leave Doechii alone after his song was 6ix9ine. Bro, who the fuck are you to tell Aiden Ross to do anything, dog? Aiden Ross is the biggest streamer in the goddamn world. Watch your mouth. See, I have the respect to not speak on streamers bigger than me. These dudes who are even higher than my level, like, they got to remember, they're like, you may be 100,000 followers, 200,000 followers. You're not Aiden Ross, though. So humble yourself a little bit when you're talking to the GOAT, bro. I don't care what field you're in. Humble yourself when you talk about the GOATs, bro.
Yeah. Dirty bitch. No. Aiden, you gotta stop that, bro. Dirty bitch.
What's like? Because I've been seeing it on the internet. What's his beef with Doechii? Didn't Doechii diss him too?
I think so. Yeah.
Dude doesn't even know what the beef is about, and he's responding to it. What type of brain dead shit is this?
She came in here first.
This dude doesn't even know what is being discussed, and he's like, "Hey, Aiden, you gotta stop, bro. Hey, bro, you better stop that, bro." Why? You don't even know what happened.
Nah, Aiden been coming at Doechii for a while though. Leave the females out of it, man. Doechii.
Oh, bro, come on.
Don't bother nobody.
Bro, you cannot be serious. Now, here's how the dudes get treated like shit. You want to be treated like the male rappers? I don't know why. But if you do, don't complain when we treat you like the male rappers, though. Because if any male rapper was botting his views or being accused of botting his views, he would be treated the same. Every time with Doechii, it's a victim thing. Every time. Crying the victim. It's because I'm black. It's because I'm a woman. It's because I'm signed to Kendrick. It's because I have an afro. It's because this. It's because that. Maybe it's just because of what we're saying. Botting views, botting streams, mediocre music. It's not that hard to figure out, sweetheart. It's not that hard to figure out. We've put our grievances out there on the table. It is now up to you to address them or not. But don't hit me with that victim shit. I don't want to hear the victim shit. I do not want to hear the victim shit from any rich artist. That's let's just end it right there. You're rich doing music. You're not a victim of anything. You guys know how many artists I know who are more talented, who've never seen a penny? Do you guys know how many people I know who deserve to be musicians and deserve to have that money and deserve Grammys and deserve plaques? And guess what? You know the crazy thing about those people who maybe haven't made it to that level yet? They don't even play the victim. They're still happy and they're still working towards their goal. So why do you, as an ultra successful, because look, if you're a victim, Doechii, I want to be a victim. Like, seriously, if Doechii, let's put it into perspective for a second. If Doechii is a victim, that means victims win Grammys. That means victims go on worldwide tours. That means victims are given massive platforms. Shit, Doechii, if you're a victim, I want to be a victim. Can I please be a victim? My bank account would love it if I was a victim. I would love to be Grammy Award winning victim Cassius Morris. So I'm going to double down for Aiden Ross. I'm going to double down against Zias and say this bitch needs to shut the fuck up. And Zias, if you don't like that I said that, well, you can talk to me about it. I'm going with Aiden Ross. Youth among us, I'm going with Aiden Ross. You understand me? Look, we're 3 hours into the stream right now. I'm warmed up. I don't give a shit right now. You guys are going to get the best clips of the summer, of the fall, whatever fucking season it is. I don't even know. We're 3 hours in and we're just getting started. We're wilding tonight. We're wilding out, guys. Okay? Holy shit. Okay, guys. We're going to take 2 seconds. Take a quick intermission. We're going to play the opening of Trump's statement about the original topic of this stream. We're just going to play the first minute or so just to get everybody up to date about what happened, and we'll be right back.
Thank you very much. This is big stuff, and we appreciate you being here. Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolás Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some other good ones, like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as
Youth Among Us said it looks like Trump is having trouble reading. Man, I did notice, and I didn't want to say this right off the beginning of the stream because it was sort of off topic, so I didn't say it, but Trump does seem really tired, man. Like, and again, I don't say it as a criticism, because for me, it gets into a weird territory when it feels like a young person is criticizing an older person for their age. Like, I'm not that guy. I'm never going to sit here and throw stones at an 80-year-old dude for being old. Like, that's not my style. That being said, though, not in a critical way. This dude is slowing down. Like, Trump, he just seems exhausted. He seems fucking exhausted, and I can't blame him. I would be exhausted too. I mean, shit, man. You're running the world and you don't sleep and you don't drink water and you don't eat healthy and you're just, you know, a dude like Trump, when you really look into his diet and stuff, he is fueled basically by nothing but pure rage and hunger. Like, he's not fueled by nutrients. He's not fueled by water. He drinks nothing but Diet Coke and eats McDonald's and KFC every day. And he's fueled by pure anger and determination. So I kind of respect it in a way. Like, he doesn't even care about taking care of himself. And that's even the way I am, to be honest, a lot of the time. Like, when I get into my certain modes, like, dude, I've barely eaten shit today. I've been working all fucking day. And I'm going to keep working. What's up, Diane? So let's see what else is popping, guys. See if we can get one more clip about the whole situation going on in Venezuela. Let's see this.
On the front lines of the fight against cartels worldwide, and he joins us from a Southcom facility in Puerto Rico tonight. Congressman Crenshaw, thank you so much for joining us. Look, today we saw this incredible Operation Absolute Resolve happen. It's been so big, and so many people have talked about so many aspects of it, but you're a person who actually lived in Venezuela before the destruction of socialism flooded the country. So give us your reaction to this morning's mission.
Look, I think my reaction is similar to many Venezuelans. There's also a huge population of Venezuelans who have fled the country in the Houston area where I represent. As you mentioned, my family lived there right after I left for high school, actually. So I've been there a lot. I know the country very well, and it was a prosperous, lovely country. You know, we're a Houston oil and gas family. That's why my family was living there. And Venezuelans around the world, as you noted, are celebrating because Maduro has been in charge for decades, has destroyed the country slowly. That's what socialism, communism does. It eats away at a society and an economy slowly. And we've been talking about it forever. We've been giving moral support to the opposition as they bravely took the streets with hundreds of thousands of people. But we never took the action required, and it's been really amazing to see the president take that bold action.
Absolutely, and look, you've been actually
Isn't that Trump's daughter-in-law, by the way? Like, not even hating on her, but isn't this a conflict of interest to have her reporting on Trump? It just seems so, like, it doesn't seem right. You have his own family members reporting on him like she's going to say anything bad. And then go to the dinner table at Thanksgiving and sit with him. Like, what the fuck?
Front lines of the war on drugs as a member of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. So What happens now after Maduro's capture with drug cartels? What does this do to their operations?
Yeah, and people often ask what the connection is between the cocaine smuggling in South America and the fentanyl production in Mexico. And the answer is, look, the Mexican cartels truly are the bosses that control all of it. There's a supply chain that comes out of Colombia that is not just allowed to happen by Maduro, the Venezuelans, but was, he profits from it. He coordinated it. That's why the DOJ has an arrest warrant for him. And people need to understand the legality of this. This is very much a DOJ operation. This is us going after a criminal and then putting him on trial. It's understandable also why this was kept such a secret too. Because of the sensitivity surrounding such an operation and the risk to force if it were to be let out. And so it's definitely a message to cartels, to two things. Cartels in Mexico for sure, because their bottom line is definitely hurt when you take out cocaine smuggling. Cocaine smuggling, while it may not seem like an existential threat to a lot of people, they have to understand it fuels the cartels in Mexico that produce fentanyl and that kill hundreds of thousands of people.
No, it's definitely an existential threat. I mean, maybe he's talking to the crowd of people who are watching Fox News who might not be educated on the issue, but anybody who's educated on drug trafficking is going to know that drugs are the least of the problem when it comes to trafficking. It's about the money that this gives the cartels and the criminal enterprises for them to then put back into their other criminal organizations. So not only does this fuel drugs and fuel overdoses and all these things happening in America, but this also fuels human trafficking. It fuels all of these other terrible facets of government. Not of government, pretty much the same thing, of the cartels. So essentially, yeah, I mean, drug trafficking is an existential threat for any country and also for the surrounding countries due to the crime that it brings. I mean, look at the worst drug criminals in the UK. They're the marijuana cartels, the marijuana mafia, so to speak. If you look into it, we don't have enough time to look all this stuff up. But the marijuana trade illegally in the UK, those are the most dangerous gangsters in it. Make a lot of money.
It's also a message to any dictators in any countries that might want to be harboring terrorists or actually helping them in this case.
Absolutely. Well, you just mentioned that there were some people who were a little upset, some of your colleagues on the other side of the aisle, about not being notified as Congress by the president about this operation. Take a listen to what they had to say.
We called members of Congress immediately after. This was not the kind of mission that you can do congressional notification on. It was a trigger-based mission in which conditions had to be met night after night. We watched and monitored that for a number of days. So it's just simply not the kind of mission you can call people and say, hey, we may do this at some point in the next 15 days. But it's largely a law enforcement function.
Yeah, so our Secretary of State obviously laying out the reasons, Congressman, that it would be challenging to notify Congress. And of course, the president said today, he said, we got a lot of leakers in Congress as well. We don't need a leak on this. So what is your response to the Democrats or the people who are upset with the fact that the president and Secretary of State did not notify Congress?
I think their response, as you just played it, is exactly right. The legality is very well established. The legality for an operation like this, similar to Noriega in the past, similar to Obama's legal actions against Gaddafi in Libya. You're going after a person who's indicted in U.S. courts, and you're going after someone who we've established as an imminent danger to U.S. national security. Because they're leading terrorist organizations effectively. You're talking about someone who is not a recognized actual leader of Venezuela, not recognized by the Trump administration, not recognized by the Biden administration, not recognized by most European nations. So the legality, I think, is on firm footing. Now, going forward, of course, I do think Congress does need to be involved, and we will absolutely work that.
Well, earlier today...
This is interesting information, though. And again, it is very biased. I mean, we're looking at, again, Trump's daughter-in-law and then a very avid supporter of Donald Trump. So these are obviously two people who are going to frame whatever he does in more of a positive light. There's no question there. But I think this is still very, very interesting. Let's take a look at one more clip. I wanted to look at one more Rogan clip. There's a lot of good Rogan clips, guys. A lot of good ones to look at when it comes to this topic. So Joe Rogan has taken a look at a recent chart that came out showing the actual overdose deaths that are happening in the United States. And it appears that overdoses from drugs have dropped to a historic low in the country. We're going to take a look right now at the actual statistics. But people are basically reporting that Rogan has said the quiet part out loud, which is that Donald Trump's operations on combating drug trafficking in international countries may actually be working to actually combat the drug crisis back in the United States. Let's take a look at Rogan's clip and assess his thoughts right now.
From the time Trump's been in office, deaths by overdose have dropped off a cliff. Look at that. Look at 2024. And leading into 2025.
Just
look
going
at
down.
These are all deaths from overdoses. I mean, that's kind of...
So pausing to take a look at the chart that Rogan is showing here, you can see the different years. And which one's 2025? Let me see. Yeah, so 2025 is on the far right of this chart. And look at this, guys. On the far right, you can see 2025, and it's absolutely plummeted when we're looking at overdoses and deaths. So this is quite a shocking statistic here coming out about the United States. I just wanted to make sure you guys could see what Rogan was talking about.
Crazy. These are all deaths from overdoses. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Like, look at that. From all drugs, which is the top one, look at that drop. I mean, that's crazy. So you see the peak in
We got to play it where you guys could see it properly. This is a little... Doesn't make sense to play it without.
And deaths by overdose have dropped off a cliff. Look at that. Look at 2024. And leading into 2025.
Just
look
going
at
down.
These are all deaths from overdoses. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Like, look at that. From all drugs, which is the top one, look at that drop. I mean, that's crazy. So you see the peak in was in 2022, or it looks like actually 2020, between 2023 and 2024. That's the peak where people are dying. And then from the time Trump's in office, it's taking a fucking sharp downturn. And why is that? Well, part of it is because they're blowing up these fucking boats that are bringing in all the drugs. And not just drugs, but drugs that are tainted with fentanyl. From the time Trump's been in office, deaths by overdose have dropped off a cliff.
Joe Rogan giving props to President Trump on his work to combat the war on drugs. And you know what, guys, I have to say, this is pretty valid. You know, when you look at the trajectory of Donald Trump's presidency, one of the main things that he's been very consistent about is attacking the drug trade. I would say along with immigration and a couple other issues, he's been very consistent on a few while also letting many others slide. But the drug area is actually a part of his presidency that he's really good at zeroing in on, and he seems very effective in getting a lot of things done. And it would stand to reason that, look, if you're blowing up all of these supplier ships from big to small, because we've seen some of these boats, look, some of the boats Trump has bombed are tiny. Some of the boats Trump has bombed seem like they could barely hold a couple kilos of cocaine. So when you're dropping bombs on every supplier from the little plug to the big plug with like the Titanic-sized boat full of kilos, you're going to start getting people scared. And I would imagine that not only are less of those boats going to make it to United States shores, more of those boats are actually not even going to leave the shores of their initial countries before they get in the water. I would say a lot of these boats, these container ships, these boats that are carrying different drugs and kilograms and whatever the case may be, maybe pills containing fentanyl, I would say a lot of these boats are going to be turning around and not even leaving the port because of President Trump. And I think that is a phenomenally good thing that no American can argue against, whether you support him or not. And this has been my most consistent position on Donald Trump. Yes, he does a lot of stupid shit. Yes, he may not be a very good guy, but he's also very capable of getting things done and showing results in certain situations. And this is a prime example. Give this guy an opportunity to make certain things right, and he will do it. Give him the opportunity to work in certain fields, and he will improve those fields. It doesn't mean I would want to have a beer with him. It doesn't mean I would trust him around my kids. I've said it before. I don't trust Donald Trump as a person. But the beauty of the president is that you don't need to trust them because you don't know them. You know, a lot of people fall for this personality of the president. I'll see people say, you know, The Rock should be president. I would think Snoop Dogg should be president. And I'll say, well, why do you think Snoop Dogg should be the president? Based on what policy? What ideas does he represent that you would like? And they say, oh, I don't know, I just like him. So think about it. We're literally living in a society of people so stupid that they think The Rock should be president. That's how focused they are on the personality of the leader. See, in other countries outside of America, they don't give a damn about the personality of the leader. You know, I was dating this Chinese girl a couple weeks ago, I guess. We just broke up. I just dumped her ass. But I was dating this Chinese girl, and I asked her, I said, how do you feel about President Xi? Like, what did people in China think about him? What are their thoughts? And she just told me, she said, I don't know. We don't really think about him because we just don't. We just follow the rules. So if he does something and we have to follow it, well, we do it. But people in China, according to this Chinese girl, don't sit there and expend energy on the personality of the leader or debating the personality of the leader or how did they say this thing? Did they come off right here? Should they have done this there? They just live their lives and they follow the rules. And it's not about whether the president is a good guy or a bad guy or right wing or left wing or any of these things. It's just about this is the guy and this is what we do and we just live our lives. Now, I'm not saying it's a better system in China. I'm not saying I envy the way their society is constructed. But what I am saying is that all of this bitching and moaning and whining and focus on the personality of the leader serves no purpose. It gets us nowhere because the personality of the leader is not changing any more than the leader is changing. If I'm to sit here and throw a fit about the personality of Donald Trump, that is going to do as much good as if I throw a fit that he shouldn't be the president, because both of those things are not going to change. I can sit here until I'm blue in the face and criticize Donald Trump and say, I wish he changed the way he spoke. I wish he changed the way he felt. I wish he changed everything about himself. But guess what? He's not going to, any more than I can wish he wasn't the president in the morning and he's going to be. So none of these things are changing. My thing is this: can they get the job done at least sometimes? And the answer with Trump is yes. So again, it's not an endorsement of Trump, but it's also not a detraction of Trump. It's just the facts, guys. Why can't we just live in an objective reality that everybody does good things and everybody does bad things? There's no such thing as a eternally good person or an eternally bad person. Everybody does good and everybody does bad. But this is a concept that people can't seem to understand. So that's where I stand with Donald Trump. So let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you guys being there, man. Somebody said fentanyl does not come from Mexico, Venezuela, or Colombia. That is such a false statement, dude. And if you're talking about where it's being manufactured, maybe it's not being manufactured there, but many tainted drugs are coming from there. That's absolute facts. So I appreciate you guys so much, man. We're just over 3 hours into the stream, guys. I'll be live again every single day. So if you guys are enjoying these streams, if you're liking a fresh take on all of these stories, fresh perspective, fresh ideas, make sure to come back. We're on the road to 100,000 followers, subscribers, I should say, here on YouTube. And we just hit 75K today. It's a big milestone. So guys, thank you for 75,000. I can promise you we're going to hit 100,000 before the 6-month point into 2026. And I might even make 200,000 my goal for this year. Fuck it. Maybe we should just bite off more than we can chew and just chew it anyway. 2026, the Cassius Morris official channel will reach 200,000 subscribers, and I will not rest until I make this a reality. And I will challenge you guys even more. Timestamp this clip, timestamp this video, January 4th, 9:48 p.m. in Thailand. Cassius Morris made the proclamation that he will hit 200,000 subscribers. So look, not only do I have to hit my first 100K, I have to actually get more subscribers than I've had in my entire career again after hitting 100K in 1 year. Let's fucking run this up. Who's ready? 200K 2026. We're going crazy. And I want all of you guys to be here with me. So I love you guys very much. Thank you for tapping in. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.